That would be crazy.
Oh, and then mass materia shuffles. Let me put a whole stack of 99 in that.
Hell yeah, dude. Get that full
That would be
stack.
nice.
Get that full stack. We are also now officially live on the YouTube side of things as well. So,
Hello, Yuptip.
we're leveling up Bard. For those of you who are coming in, live letter countdown is roughly an hour away. And I'm going to be leveling up some Bard while we wait in the kind of the pre-show, which is going on right now. They're kind of doing their base intro. FoxClon is wearing God knows what a lot. He looks so good too. It's wild, man. Yeah.
He's just FoxClon way. It's fine.
Just FoxCloning his way.
What they need to do is whoever's holding the Manitou needs to just kick it across the room.
I'm trying to remember which of the gathering and crafting ones weren't actually as valuable, because those are worth checking as well.
I honestly would check all of them because sometimes people screw up and miss like.
Hey,
a
Stoic,
digit.
thanks for the lurk, dude.
So I have times whereby the really expensive materia for like a fraction of the price. So I always check all of them.
Oh, you do?
Yes. Well, all 9 and 10s. Well,
Yeah.
I check everything higher than 7.
Yeah.
I cannot believe you buy 8s.
Hey, Distorted, thanks, man.
You'd be surprised how many
shuffled
eights you
them.
find per vendor or less.
Yeah, I shuffled them. Like I buy every 7 and 8s. I buy up to 200 each, which is still just over vendor price. So even if they wouldn't sell, I could still throw them in the Dome Enclave if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I would still make a
They
profit.
just did 27 million. Is that what they're announcing? I
How
honestly
high
thought it
do
would
you
be
go
higher.
on 9s and 10s?
27 million players.
Yeah, I thought it'd be higher.
I think if they want to get to, like, I still think Xbox needs to
I
be a part.
I honestly can't believe it's not 30. So like usually I'm really excited for them, and like honestly with how successful it felt like they've been crushing things lately, it's the first time I've seen them set a record and it not feel.
What was the
weird.
last
It's like,
announcement?
yeah,
Wasn't it 24?
25.
24, 25? All right.
It was
24,
25 in
25.
April, I want to say.
Yeah. So it honestly like seems like
If it's 25 in April and we're just 6 months later and they've sold another 2 million units, that's massive.
Wow.
yeah, but there's already estimated over like 2 million. I don't know. It just feels like honestly I thought we'd be at 30.
See, honestly,
That's how
I
fast
think
this game feels like it's growing.
I think though it like 30, Xbox I think helps push it up.
Oh, hands down. They throw Xbox up, that thing's at 30 within 60 days.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah, that's like awesome.
Mid-cycle. Mid-cycle.
Yeah, I think
We were at 22 million users, registered users in April 2021.
So in April 2021 till now, that's 7 million new players.
And it was 25 million in December.
Okay, so 3 million from December then.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to sell 3 million of anything to you guys.
I mean, sure, but I still think with like the hype of
I knew
Endwalker.
one of the Chris's to go, eh.
Eh.
I didn't know which one it was going to be. But
The problem though still is like
It's me.
they sold that much, and I still think that the ask that it has a new player of what all is experienced is substantial. Like it's, you know, like you could say like, yeah, but how many of those have finished Heaven's Word? Like, you know, and so that's something that I know they probably have the data on. I doubt they share that, you know, but
I mean, I think the issue is that we had 3 million more players between April and December of last year, and only 2 more million players between December and now, which is a longer time with fewer additional users, basically.
But that's still also like that's the pattern that 14 goes through. Like, you know, during the point, you know, after the expansion to the 0.5 patch, like it's just a slower time. You know, it's less coverage, less gameplay, like less streams, less content creation. You know, it's less on every metric, at least from my perspective.
Which time was it?
The slowdown within the Final Fantasy 14 you know, aspect that you see happen from the expansion to the next you know, update, the next 0.5 patch. Once they announce
FanFest stuff.
Yeah, once they announce at FanFest what's coming, then that's where I think things that's where you start getting that hype train, that excitement, getting people to come back and get caught up. You know, because it's like I think the vast majority still plays the game. Dang, I thought I was out of that. As a story-driven Final Fantasy game.
Also, I do want all of those Locker plushies, please. In all sizes.
Howdy, folks.
Not in
Hey, what's up,
Foxconn
Wes?
side, please. All but Foxconn sizes, please.
Hey, what's going on, Joseph? How you doing tonight, dude?
All right. Farm up some achievements. I don't know what you guys are doing while you wait, but I am going to farm up some achievements this evening.
I'm
Hey, Farmer Girl, how you doing?
doing rendering stuff.
All right.
Doing that rendering. Heck yeah, dude.
I'm trying to lay up a bunch of new stream alerts. That's been my big project this week. The goal is to roll out ideally 40 or 50 of them all at once, which we only have across all of our alerts, we're probably at 30, and this would over double that.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna push them all up at once.
Riku with the Lurk Force, loving it. Hey, what's up, Max? Hey, Chili. Oh, dude, Max got a nasty cold. Hopefully you feel better, dude. I've been sick all this week. I've been able to bring energy to a couple of live shows with Chris, but after that, I've been and now I'm gonna go lay down.
Did you have a command?
What's up?
There's a command, yes.
Oh, cool.
And Book Boy, it is currently 5:35 for me, and I'm still awake.
Oh, dude.
I am not going to sleep for quite some time here.
There we go. Got it. Okay.
So I absolutely feel you. I'd envy you that you had sleep.
Perfect. All
So I
right.
got the completed quests. Leave quests. Fishing leave quests. Okay, so there's 4 at each level, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, sweet action, guys. Thanks for the 16 likes on the YouTube side of things. Appreciate that. Let's see here. Also, let's see, live on Twitch. Boom. Let me pin that for those who need it. Hey, Chris, did you get the Reddit for the translation posted into the description?
Did it's under translate. Oh, it's not in the description. I did it as a bot command. I thought that's what you're asking for.
Oh, cool. Well, so I'm gonna do a translate. Oh, good.
It should be a Nightbot bot command.
Thank you.
Tobal and Marcos, thank you so much. 9 and 15 months. So right now it is a unique alert for your 2nd month through your 12th month. And then everybody that's more than 12 months is the same alert. I'm trying to get 13 through 24 to all be unique. And then we have 5, I think, 5 or 6. 6 for your 1st month. Just because with Prime, those tend to show up quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then with gifted, there's 10 now, which is fine. As long as nobody does anything crazy.
Yeah.
Like 100.
Yeah.
No
It's
one
So I am looking at tripling that so that that
has a little bit more variety because a lot of you
has a little
guys
more variety.
have been so generous. So thank you. The speaking of generosity, Eston over on the Work to Game YouTube dropping a $30 super chat saying, gonna miss the live letter due to work, but I look forward to the rewatch during my shift. Now, on the YouTube side of things, if you guys are wanting the rewatch and our reactions and breakdown, I'll have it all chaptered out for you. So if you're just coming into this now and you're in the VOD and you're like, when's the live letter? Just check the chapters and jump to the section that you want. And we'll have it all broken out for you guys as that goes on. And then if you're lurking on both streams, thank you so much. The lurk force is strong, and we love the lurk force so much. Yeah, I'm just rocking out like Bard. It's what a great way to like. Let's see if somebody's like I should cap Bard during this event, and that would be wild. What the mother of pearls, Book Boy, Chris? You said how many do you have? 30.
There's only 10 right now.
Oh my gosh, dude. Guys, if you're not lurking over on Twitch, you might be getting or missing the opportunity to be gifted subs. Bookboy just dropping 25 tier 1 subs on the community. Thank you, Bookboy, for that amazing gift.
And good morning to the UK. Or,
Good morning to the UK.
Or British Standard Time, British Summertime time zone, at the very least. I'm assuming you're in the UK. Or Ireland, actually.
Quest in Fisherman's Bottom.
Let me get this.
Oh, the Beast of Brewer's Bacon. That's why. I was like, I don't have any quests incompleted in the ARR. That's not a real quest. It's the Beast of Brewer's Bacon's that like impossible to catch, right?
7 levels to go.
What's
I've
the
never
most
gotten
you've
the
ever
Beast
had
one.
At one time? Simultaneously, Farmer Girl?
Like sub points, I assume, basically.
It was a lot during Endwalker. What was it, Brian?
The most we've had?
Yeah, at a single given time.
Oh, at a single given time? I don't know, but I know the most subs we've gotten up to is 1,500. And that's where, like, you were like, all right, the streaming thing makes sense. I can do this. And it's like...
Twice where we are. Farmer Girl. It's like, just in all honesty. But, like, Final Fantasy is cyclical, so... Around that time frame, we also had streams with 1,300 people watching us. So like the whole thing it feels surreal now. I didn't even know how to tell people outside of stream what I did for a living because the whole thing didn't feel like something I could even describe.
Yeah.
Because when my wife tells me that there's 20 or 50 of you guys watching, she's like, that's crazy. There's 50 people watching him play a video game. When it was 1,300, it just felt like she was lying. Like, no, there isn't. Like, no, there isn't. There's not 1,000 people watching your husband click a sign. Yeah, there are.
I'm so mad that I missed that. That must have been such a...
It was wild, dude. It was wild.
stream.
It's like, well, I want you to get the house, Chris, but this is the best
also
streams
don't.
we've ever had. What the heck, dude? Like, sign clicking. We're right here with you. There's no streamer privilege. Trips always lurking. Thank you, Trips. Boom, boom.
Okay.
Yeah, sweet. And then also for those of you who don't remember, we've clearly learned that if we remind y'all about your Amazon Prime, like if you have Amazon Prime, you get a free Prime sub that you can put any Twitch streamer. So it's free Bezos bucks, man. So spend those Bezos bucks, whether with us or somebody else. Just hit sub and hit use Prime sub. So you can renew it every 30 days manually, but it clearly is I was like, yeah, Prime sub, but all of a sudden it's like Prime subs start coming in. They're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. So,
King, thank you for Prime. I didn't realize that Bookboy pushed us over 900.
yeah.
Guys, thank you. And then King gifting us up. And then Riku back with 23 months. That's going to be hopefully like one of the last. I'm trying really hard to make sure that these 23s fight it with 100 corgis. 100 corgis.
100 corgis.
Need to bring back the spinning wheel. It sits on the other side of my desk. I still have it.
Oh, dude, yeah.
The spinny wheel.
Yeah, it was, we were spinning the wheel for a topic. MMM, thank you so much. $20 super chat says, hey, y'all, appreciate the work you do, keeping us up to date. Excited for the live letter. Heck yeah, dude. From Maddie. Thanks, Maddie. I like your username. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that.
Can you pick up? It says this website is just patently false.
Which one? Which of the minis?
I'm just on a random website. I should have just gone to Gamerscape from the get-go.
Yes. Please.
Yeah, of course.
Always good. I'm biased, but yes.
Yeah, no mind my bias here. Just hold up.
Gamerscape's just heavy on my browser because it has too much information in it.
Yeah, it's always heavy. That's another 10 subs from Tiffany Wu.
Tiffany.
Wow, thank you, Tiffany. Holy smokes.
Now I feel bad I didn't get all those uploaded. I was trying to get them all out in one batch.
Oh, it always is that way, isn't it? Like, I feel that way 100% all the time, Chris. Like, I'm always like, oh, yeah, I should have added that. I should have taken that time. And it's like, it's not your fault, dude. I wouldn't worry about it. Like, that's the way the life is.
I did take a 2-hour nap today.
That's good. A nap is important. This is going to be a long night. I'm going to go cut up some apples.
It is going to be a long night.
Yeah.
I'm going to have some Huel hot and savory tonight.
Ah.
Star Blossom sharing Prime.
Yes, Star. Thank you so much. 8 months. 8 months of that Prime Bezos bucks that you've blessed us with. Thank you very, very much for that.
Huel what now? Okay, I'll go. Let me go. How long do I have? I have a long time. I have 45 minutes. Let me go get the kettle on.
Get that kettle rocking and rolling.
Boiling water.
Get that kettle rock and roll, yeah. I got the Twitch alerts added to the Work to Game stream here as well, so everybody on the Work to Game side of things can hopefully enjoy those. Going on. It's gonna be a long.
Yes, some of us have already been staying up all night.
What do you mean going to be?
Way ahead of you. No, I'm going to be the crazy person who's also going to completely write up a text summary of the live letter after the live letter.
Okay.
And maybe then I'm going to sleep.
Okay. Cool. Oh man, thank you guys. Chris getting his kettle on. What's up, Fear the Beard? How you doing, bud? Oh, here we go. Let's get this. Let's get the bard hunt going. As a bard. Bard on bard. Violence.
It's not just a rap battle.
No. And we got T-minus 45 minutes till the live letter officially kicks off. So thank y'all for being here as a part of the bard grind. Yeah, the nice thing, Amanda, is that we'll also get it summarized for y'all, which would be nice. I'll get that posted and going. I actually, man, I was not able, like I chose to spend the day with the family, but I wasn't able to get the rest of the YouTube stuff cut down. I need to finish the edit on the last Epic Loot Radio, which was great show. So, sleep. I'm a gamer.
I really want to go into the Titania fight right now because they have so great lines that they'll answer all of the questions we're getting right now.
Oh yeah?
Because, well, okay, it's gonna be a long night is Tsukuyomi, but Titania has the wonderful line of "You can sleep when you're dead."
You can sleep when you're dead.
Okay, and that is another.
Right. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks so much for being here, everyone.
16 videos that are going to go into the media encoder blender.
You got Snuggles, popcorn, hot cocoa, random video game in the background. Genius.
I am
Living your best life.
jelly of the hot cocoa, so I'm gonna be RB and make myself some as well.
You gonna jump in on that action?
I don't have popcorn. Random video games, check. Snuggles, not happening. So all I can get is hot chocolate.
All right, excellent. Oh yeah, 2 things real close to back to back to back. Oh, they got it. Oh, that's the paladin. Let's get him. Got it. Can we wreck their day? Oh, come on. Give me a little bit more output. Dragon.
Alright.
Oh, right. The snuggies, the blankets. Yeah, I've seen those.
Oh, the Snuggies? Yeah.
I read that as snuggles, not snuggies, so I was a little bit misinformed.
This stuff smells amazing.
The heal stuff?
Yeah. It's a rice and like quinoa, just add water like whole meal, and it's Mexican chili. It smells incredible. If it is a quarter as good as it smells, my dog just followed me all the way to my office.
I wonder why. What could your dog possibly want from you?
The farmer girl asked if it was good this week, and I said, you know what, let's do it. Let's have it during the library. It's the perfect thing, because I'm basically not going to prep going into the library. So that having something that's
They got me.
a cheap and complete meal that I can just like... And I don't own a microwave, so I have to use the kettle, but... So like the instructions over the microwave, and then below that it goes, have a kettle? That'll work. That's fine. Thank you. I understand I'm the weirdo for not having a microwave.
No Tropic. T minus roughly 40 minutes. T minus 40.
Yep. Okay. So I go to completed quests, lead quests, fishing quests. I've done all 4 of the level 1s. Now the level 5s, I have not done. The level 5s I've done Cloud Cutlet and Brain Candy. I feel like I had a tracker
Yeah,
somewhere.
Spard.
Wasn't there a tracker on like a lot of achievements or something?
All the achievements had this. Alright, there's a funny conversation. Hold on. Let's go get some
Got
live
him.
translation. In the life. It's all tonight is going to be all live translated, guys. So if you are not familiar, exclamation point translate. If you are not familiar with where that comes from, translations and live letters. All right, and the people over at Reddit do a great job of providing that to the community.
So apparently it is pretty much a chit-chat about the relationship between the CEO and Yoshi P. Nothing much either. It's more like the impression shouldn't be exaggerated because people seem to think that having lunch/dinner with the CEO means drinking expensive wine and whatnot. But Yoshi P refuted that. He always had to ask whether going extravagant over wine expense can be a good idea or not. So
There you go.
nothing
Ninja
too
down.
crazy.
Ninja down. Yeah, get well soon. Get well soon, man. I've been sick all this week. I feel that very much.
The fisherman wanted me to use an upper decker. I was only doing lower deck. All right.
Yoshi P and wine is an iconic dude. Yes, I have many a Discord server that has a Yoshi P drinking wine emote.
So I think I just did another. So I've done. Oh, I completed Yummy in the Tummy. Oh, you have to. I don't want to. Typing with Google. Yes.
You're hoping for a female Hrothgar before next expansion? That'd be wild. That would shock me if we ended up getting that kind of update pre-expansion. We know it's coming. It's just a matter of that, you know. Is it 7.0 or do they do that? That'd be, oh man. I don't think we're gonna learn about if they're gonna do that. It'd be wild if they shared it with us at this live letter, but crazier things have probably happened.
Yeah, I'll probably watch from the FC house. So if anybody wants to hang out there, I feel like we're getting to do this in person. It's a great place to have events like this. But we don't have to go there until like the last second.
Yeah.
So cloud cutlet, Yummy in the Tummy. I need more of these. I don't know which one's affordable. We'll just find out. And then on the 10s, I need Just Add Water and the Fairy Incandescent. I have the same problem.
Also, if you don't know where the FC house is, !FC in the Twitch chat will point you in the right direction.
I think exclamation point house would do it too. Oh, sure enough. If I had to guess, so there's 15s. You want another gathering relic? Oh god, that would be awesome. They haven't said anything about crafting and gathering Skysteel Tool continuation. Nothing. And like, I would love to rebuild Garlemald, but there's a real argument that that could take place in 7.0. So like, what would we even do for our crafter and gather relic? But we are getting our gathering these tribes, so like, we are getting content. I can't eat food. It's too hot. It's too hot.
I mean, can you imagine?
It smells amazing.
Can you imagine Omicron themed gathering relics?
I've got a little pet, Omega weapon that gathers for me. Just as an animation.
It'd be amazing. All right. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to complete all of the fishing leaves that I've never done.
Yeah.
But there's only 2 up at a time, so for some of these I have done them, but I need to get the rest of them.
No, that was going to kill me. I thought it was just going to hurt me. Good to know.
I find it really interesting that they're showing off like the devs doing Realm Reborn relics on stream right now. Like, of all the things to show.
I mean, it's not spoilery. I don't know, but then they put like...
It's hard, dude. It's got to be hard because it's like... And the thing we talked about like on today's show, it's like... The only way that you actually let somebody... Like, the majority of spoilers are spoiled by the people going like, that's a spoiler. It's like, well, now you just alerted to them. They had probably absolutely no clue what they just saw.
Yeah, some of the stream alerts I'm going to do, like, they're from, like, big moments at Endwalker and things like that, but, like, as long as I just cut them together where, you know, Brian's just crying at, like, Graha's face, like, there's no...
I mean, what? Why is Brian crying at Graha's face? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, there's nothing there. So there's, like, one moment where, like, I acknowledge that it's the final trial fight of Endwalker, but like I can just cut it so that it only shows me and the blue pig, and it doesn't really matter because I'm complaining that it's like I want a harder mode.
And apparently they have the director of Final Fantasy 16 on stream right now, who apparently has to finish an entire relic within the 18 hours of this stream.
That is a huge journey. I cannot imagine starting a Final Era relic and finishing it in the same sitting.
Yeah.
Is that doable?
I
mean, maybe with help.
No, I don't think so, because you you need...
YouTube chat saying hi, Fabio, in reference to you, by the way. Chris.
Oh, what did I do?
Chris, word game, Chris.
Oh.
Well, you got to come up with better, like, nomenclature.
Stop cutting my hair.
I should open.
Anthony, gifting a sub, censored. Everybody's been gifted subs. Enjoy your month of ad-free, but you know, for tonight, enjoy your very long stream of ad-free.
Yay!
So the issue I see with trying to finish a Realm Reborn relic is that you need too many poetics to finish it.
Persephone, good evening.
Hello.
Welcome to Persephone, or anybody that's not, or anybody that's here from New World earlier that's not familiar with what tonight is. Tonight is the annual broadcast where every year on the anniversary of the game, not the exact anniversary, it moves around a little, they do a 14-hour broadcast for Final Fantasy XIV. This year they're doing it from PAX Australia, I think, at least portions of it. And that kind of has a whole series of events, and usually as part of those big long broadcasts, a great way to fill 14 hours of content is to go ahead and schedule a live letter during it. So whichever live letter is closest, that's the live letter that fits. This one happens to be perfectly timed anyway, because the second live letter, or like there tends to be a live letter right at 11 days before a patch, and sure enough, we're like 11 days from a very clean patch window. We don't have confirmation that we're getting 6.25 11 days from now, but it feels like that would be the right timing. And so we're going to be watching our live letter from the producer live. The producer and director of the game is going to sit down and kind of share some things with us. It'll be in Japanese, but there will be live translation in English on the slides. And it's not dissimilar to the way a panel works at BlizzCon, or some of the posts from the New World team, or even the live posts from like the Guild Wars team. The difference being with Final Fantasy that this is number 73. So
yeah, it's big.
We do a lot of these.
Yeah, and we're happy to actually now be, because of the changes in Twitch policy, can actually bring it back to both YouTube and Twitch for you guys. So whether you're lurking on one platform or both platforms, note that you have the viewing experience of your choice tonight. Yeah, we appreciate that. We're obviously trying to grow the lurk support over on Twitch to 200. So that's kind of our current next goal. So thank you, a special thank you to all our lurkers, helping to kind of help those numbers continue to grow and grow and grow. So we appreciate all y'all for that.
All right.
Right, TwitchCon is also happening right now,
that's
as
right.
is New York Comic Con and PAX Australia. So, you know, if you're at any convention right now, stay safe.
I'd love to go to stuff like that.
Dude, oh man, they're like, hey, you're gonna go to TwitchCon this year? I was like, no.
I already have a lot of people at home. Thank you very
I know.
much.
I'm usually like being jumped on, all the time, and it's like I don't need to leave my house for that experience.
So what I'm actually working on right now is I am on my stream. I don't know what you guys are working on, but what I'm working on while we kill time is I am trying to complete the all the quests in the game that I've never completed.
Can you promote me, because I made you the head honcho, because you've been playing way more than I have, and I didn't want us to accidentally run the risk of me blinking on the house. But I'm now just a recruit, so I cannot turn on buffs. It's not like, oh, you're the head honcho, now we'll lower you down one level. It's like, no. To the bottom of the bin.
Chris can promote you.
I can. Let me log in real quick.
Thank you.
I can't promote you to FC leader. That would be weird. But everything else I can do.
You want to be Big Pig?
Is that the next role? Big Pig?
Yeah, because I was Big Pig for a huge number of
That should
years.
go fine.
Yeah, Big Pig sounds fine. That sounds fun. Oh, now I'm Big Pig. Thank you. Yeah, I'm Big Pig. Woo! I'm good. Thanks for putting those
Pig's
buttons.
the second rank because I run around as a Big Pig.
I think that role was specifically made for you, Chris.
Cool. All right, give me a second. Big Pig is gonna take a quick break, grab my water, switch I left downstairs. I'll be right back.
You sat next to a really sweet Final Fantasy XIV partner on the plane to San Diego. That's awesome.
Thanks.
That's awesome. I would love to go to
They
stuff like
had
that.
an amazing week, and
All right.
I changed my 14 password as you do, and I'm still typing in the old one just by because I'm too used to it.
And then the 10s, I need just add water and the fertile incandescent.
Now I'm curious who that partner was Persephone met. Apparently they said something nice about you.
I'm trying to think of what region of the U.S. Persephone lives in, because then I may be able to guess. Who all went to TwitchCon? I'm sure a lot of people went to TwitchCon. I would love to go to stuff like that. I just don't. I don't really have a good reason beyond that it costs money to go. Costs money to go.
Let's play the guessing game.
Did Ren go this year?
Rin didn't go because he refused to go because there was no mask mandate until really recently, and then it was too late for him to get tickets and other stuff. So he decided to not go.
Flew out of Chicago. Were you sitting next? Did Rookery go?
I don't think
Rook?
she might have gone.
Rookery's out of Chicago.
Yeah.
She has been encouraging me to dye my hair for a very long time.
Actually,
This
I
is-
didn't think
this is Rookery?
she... No, she was on the Lightbringer podcast. So unless she was
Remote.
doing that from remote, I don't think she did that.
Fido, our very own mod, is now Chicago. A Texas transplant. Dye to what color? Hyphlodays.
The color is now called Hyphlodaeus.
The color is called Hyphlodays. To drive 2 to 3 hours to get to Chicago. Did Xandri go?
The fuck? Sorry, I shouldn't swear on stream. Especially not multiple.
Xandri would be my next guess.
He's not wise.
It makes it harder that you said they would say something nice about us, because we're big compared to where we started. It feels ridiculous and enormous and impossible that we're here. And we try to say thank you in as many ways as possible, as often as possible. But when I compare to all of Twitch, and you say they're
Stephanie said she earlier,
She did-
so I
she did.
assume she.
Chicago. Is Joy from Chicago? Where's Curious Joy from? Or, trying to think of who would go to TwitchCon. That's the other thing. They have to play 14 and be partnered and know us and go to TwitchCon.
Also, know you and like you. Not to be rude, but you know.
Yeah, did they like me specifically? I'm the condescending tool of the pair. Zoomy. Zoomy.
23 minutes
would
to
be my
go.
next two. That's tough.
Sorry, I apologize for that.
You told me I want the first letter? Yes. Because the other thing is I don't know where everybody lives, which is
The
not
thing
weird.
is,
That's a weird thing not to.
A. Now the question is that the first letter of their Twitch name or
Probably.
their first name?
Probably.
If it's Twitch name, I have an idea, but I don't know if they went. And I don't know where they
A lot of
live.
people don't go to stuff like that, which I don't think is weird. Right?
Like my first guess would have been a Recipe Reborn.
She's from Canada.
Well,
Yeah, well,
depends
wait.
on where in
You could
Canada.
drive 3 hours to Chicago to go.
Yeah,
It could be a Recipe Reborn.
yeah.
Was it
Like
Lemon?
I was thinking.
You
when
and
said,
Lemon would be
like-
really fun to meet. So Persephone was a professional baker before she was a full-time content creator, and a Recipe Reborn, Lemon, up out of Canada, is she's a professional, a literal culinarian, and her stream is about cooking dishes from Final Fantasy XIV's culinarian profession, right? Which is super neat.
Like I don't know U.S. Geography enough, but I would have guessed that
big.
you could drive. I
It's
mean
big.
that part I do know.
So the state that I'm from, Texas, is about the same size as Spain, ballpark.
Yeah, isn't it way bigger?
And Florida is like, I think, Italy.
No.
So it's big. It's very big.
Geography.
So
Comparison.
it's very hard to.
So there is the site truesize.com, which lets you enter a country and lets you overlap it over other countries, which is fun.
Like, if I start on the east side of Texas, where
Yeah.
Brian was born, and I drive to where I went to college in Texas, without leaving the state, that is probably a 8 to 9 hour drive at 60 to 80 mile an hour. It's a game-related word, but spelled wrong.
Oh.
Spelled wrong. These are good hints. A good hint is one where afterwards you feel real dumb,
Yeah.
but it doesn't just hand it to you. You Googled? I don't even know what to Google. I wouldn't even know how to Google that. Just Final Fantasy 14 TwitchCon? Like, I don't even know. Final Fantasy 14 partner TwitchCon, and then what, Twitter? Like, I literally don't even know. Feel real dumb. You're surprised I'm not using Twitter? No, I was just trying to do it from my memory. I mean, the fact that it's female cuts the field down in MMO content creation by 70%. It is mostly male. You know, and so then the moment you cut it to like an A, and so you knock out, and you say northerners, like I can knock out anybody that I know lives further south. Like it dwindles quickly. And like Kiria Hiri starts with a K. So it wouldn't shock me if she went.
Water bottles acquired.
All right, Brian. Here's the hints, okay? They went to TwitchCon. They flew from the Chicago airport, but it took them several hours to drive there.
Okay.
Their name starts with A. They are a Final Fantasy XIV partnered streamer, and they said something nice about us.
Okay, so give
Starts
me
with
the
A.
give me the clues again. Clues again.
All right, so they went to TwitchCon, and they're a Final Fantasy XIV streamer
Okay.
who is partnered
Okay.
with a. Their name starts with A. It's female. They flew out of the Chicago airport. Took them several hours to drive in, and they said something nice about us.
Man, this is. I have no idea who starts with A. Partner and streamer. Hold on. Are they live now?
I don't know.
If they were at TwitchCon, I would.
Google
Like,
FFXIV Twitch partner whenever you're ready.
Okay. FXIV Twitch partner. Let's see here. Twitch. Is there a announcing 14? Okay.
Oh, I have.
Are they on the page?
I just feel dumb. I just feel dumb. And their
if-
name is
and-
game related, but the word is spelled wrong, which Brian wouldn't notice a wrong spelling. So their name is game related.
Any fuchsia?
That's not gamer related.
I don't think of them as
I was
14
thinking of her
first.
as well, but
I
that's
don't
not
think of her
game
as 14
related.
first. She's on freaking Wowhead.
I'm Anna Fuchsia as 10. Ayana? If I'm not butchering that.
Chicago?
I don't know. Like I'm just going here. Like I googled Final Fantasy 14 part streamer.
It's a good guess.
That's my guess.
Plus, it doesn't like Annie saying something nice about us feels crazy because we haven't interacted with them that much.
Yeah. I like Annie. She also does a lot of like WoW and New World and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. She got like random error ban in New World. It's such a funny moment. Like what? She was trying to milk the cow. So I don't know. Like, oh, are you asking? Like, do you not know?
No, I don't know.
Well, who's giving us this hint?
Persephone, who sat next to him on the plane.
Oh, cool.
And they, Persephone wouldn't consider Annie as a 14 streamer.
I don't think so. No.
Well, that's what she said. Just.
I mean, Warcraft's in the name. That's why I don't think it's Abaddon. I mean, Final Fantasy XIV Twitch partner is already just such a small group. That's why I get so excited when somebody gets partner. Like when Milky got partner like a month or two ago. Like that's so exciting. There's just not that many of us.
Yes,
we're too
we
inconsistent as a directory.
15,
and like
15
Twitch is
minutes
just
away.
so like if you're good for like 3 months in a row and then you apply and then 14 has an off month and they check your profile, they're like, maybe next time. Crap. We're mutuals on our Twitter. All right. Let's open Twitter. I haven't had Twitter open. Oh, Moody was Yugiri for today. She was garlic bread yesterday, which is wonderful.
Yeah. I was. She rated us today.
She's garlic bread yesterday. She has to dress up every day for 31 streams. So she streams 5 days a week. So it's going to take her over a month.
And Noctis joining the Dollar Club here on YouTube. Thank you so much for that support, man.
So we're neutrals and we're only following 1,000 people. Is Aurora Peachy from Chicago area? That would make sense. It could be Aurora. Should have started on Twitter. You're like, I'm surprised you're not using Twitter. Yeah, I should have been using Twitter.
Yeah. Live letter starts here in less than 15 minutes, so we'll cut over the presentation UI here all when that breaks down here in a second. So it's gonna be good times. Good times.
Why is your following tab on Twitter in just whatever order? Like, it's not alphabetical, it's not size, it's not recent interactions.
It is, I believe, by default sorted by longest time you have been following them. And yes, that doesn't make any sense. I agree.
Oh,
it's based on when I hit follow to them?
Yes, with the earliest being all the way at the bottom, basically. So if you would follow a new account right now, they would show up at the top of your following list.
Excuse me.
Fall asleep now, Brian.
I feel like I got a lot of energy. I just I don't know if it's TMI. Like, I've just had a lot of gas lately, like in terms of burping. So I just I'm trying not to like burp in y'all's ear.
We can't smell it.
All right, let's see here.
I was going to say it might be a good kid defense, but that doesn't always work.
Yeah, not in this case. Oh, so freaking true. Thanks, guys, for the 41 likes here on YouTube. If you guys don't know, we stream on YouTube and Twitch, covering Final Fantasy, other MMOs, as we've been kind of dipping into Guild Wars. Chris is excited for Dragonflight. Honestly, some of the controller changes, I think, are, for me, are just generally curious to see if WoW will become a console game, maybe around 11.0. Seems like they're moving more and more. You don't think so?
I don't think I'm going to get it. No, because I'm probably going to think when they name it that they aren't from the Chicago area.
So apparently Pride got it correct.
Who got it correct?
Pride Izzy got it correct in chat.
3 hours is still relatively Chicago area. Have you met people that say they're from Chicago? My mom's brother says he's from Chicago, and they live like 2 hours south. Yeah, I'm from Chicago. Oh, what part? 2 hours outside.
Chicago.
That's not like that's a the comedian. He's like, yeah, I'm from Chicago. What part? Indiana. Screw you. Like, that's just.
Well, in their defense, Chris, I mean, if they live outside Chicago, they go an hour or two outside Chicago, they're almost into the next state.
Yeah.
If I drive either by car or train for 3 hours, I can be in 4 different countries.
I literally took a class in my master's studying Chicago and New York City. And the whole class was just on those two. I've never been to either.
Is it Alchemy?
Yeah, I was looking at Alchemy as well, because that could be a
game related. I forgot about game related.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So I was thinking Alchemy as well, but I don't know them, so I wouldn't know.
Yep. I have to scroll way down of it.
It is Alchemy, that's what they say.
I've
Sweet.
been following them forever.
Well,
yeah. I wasn't even that far down my list because you said it's sorted by when we first hit follow.
I guess in that case, everyone head over to Alchemy and give them a follow.
All right.
On TwitchCon and for follow. Yeah, thank you for that, Death Monkey.
I don't think I wasn't even that far yet.
YouTube creators data stories. Wait. Coming to the analytics will cover topics such as audience, content, monetization, YouTube education.
I met her. I think I met her.
Oh, interesting.
I met her. I don't know how Brian met her. I met her by. We were raiding somebody, and it was like late at night, and like nobody was on, and I'd never heard of her, and she was doing story, and I think at the time I was doing story, and so I think it was like one of the like those oceanic type Crystal Tower type streams or something. But no, I think it was long. It would have been longer ago than that. I don't remember what I was doing. I don't know. Launch some expansion. I don't know.
All right.
A while ago.
Followed. All right, Chris, we'll need to swap over to our kind of room to cover the podcast as well. So cover the live stream as the heads up.
Pictures together. She's got her TwitchCon pictures. That's wonderful. What a sweetie.
Time to go by.
All right, let me disable my camera here.
And for everyone who wants to hang out in-game, we are going to be
at the house.
at the house on Ether.
Who knows a while. Cool.
Let's see here. And let's go. 1 second. Where's my camera? Cam overlay.
All right.
Perfect.
All right, so I need to hop over to the other, the call with Brian.
Oh, good. It's already set up. We're good. I don't even have to disable my camera. I can just swap it in here. Sweet. Sometimes it's like, yeah, you can have 2 cameras. Sometimes it's like, no. You cannot.
Let me try with my...
Or 50.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna dip out of Discord chat. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with us, and we might be back. Who knows? It's gonna be a long day. See you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Have a good stream.
Bye.
Peace. All right. Let's see here, and let me make sure Chris has this link. And let's go with. Let me just message it to him. For the live letter. Cool. 14 hours. So live letter thankfully isn't going to be us doing that for 14 hours. And Chris is here.
Okay, so how do I third display capture? Do you have music playing?
I do right now, yeah. But I'm gonna kill the music here in a second. Actually, just so it doesn't overwhelm the system. Sometimes things get a little tricky. I wanna.
All right. Live letter starts in 6 minutes. Oh,
Yep.
I haven't tried my chili yet.
Oh, cool. Share. And share screen.
It's really flavorful.
Oh, excellent.
I'm not usually a big fan of quinoa. For the fact that I like rice, my description of quinoa is there's too many of them.
Too many of those quinoas.
Oh, I've got so many layouts. Hold on.
Cool, that works great. Beautiful.
Stand by.
Stand by.
Hold on. I've got too many things going on. Stand by. We're doing it.
We're doing it live.
It's not. Okay. Let's head home to the house.
Pre-show.
Well, that was a fun game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then I'm gonna say we've been
Need to
live
think of all the
for.
people that we've met over the years. When you think back to like literal people we've gotten to like go meet in person.
Oh, especially these last couple of years. Like, oh, where are you headed? You know.
Yeah.
And this year.
There's some wild experiences. We've gotten to have drinks with some of you guys over the years.
Mm-hmm.
We had a meal where it was like us and Spoofy and Frosty and Larry, and like that just feels like bizarre
That's
that
ages ago, dude.
we were in company of. So
Yeah, that was just it was like a lifetime ago sometimes.
it does. It does.
Yeah, because that was the Shadowbringers media tour, and so we haven't really had like a oh man, dude, if they start talking about like if they're gonna do an in-person fan fest or something.
I think they will.
Question is, do you think they're gonna start talking about that, or are we gonna have to wait till 2023?
Oh, I think that's the second half of a live letter announcement. It's why we stay in second half of live letters.
Okay.
That's a QVC announcement. If any of you, if this is your first live letter, or you haven't done one since like the ones that are going into an expansion, which work inherently differently, these are in Japanese only. They are 2 parts. The first part will start out with the obvious stuff and work its way down. They are usually either announcement focused or gameplay focused, depending on where we're at within the cycle. The second half is usually more interview based, but I don't know that we're even going to get the second half since there is a literal interview later and there's more of like a QVC and all that. So they scheduled this one at being only 2 hours. So it's possible we just do the first half and bail. So the fact that this one's part of a 14-hour thing, so it has a hard out, does change it a little bit. So we'll do it. They're doing a event after this. They'll have their little intermission, and then they'll have like a music game, and then there's an intermission, and then so there may not be a second half to this one. So I don't know that this is where they announce the Fan Fest, but maybe. I think it's a little early. I think Fan Fest is next summer. I'd love to be in San Diego over the summer.
Oh yeah.
You think it's San Diego?
San Diego for like the Fan Fest? That'd be my guess, right? That's where they do BlizzCon, right?
No.
They do where there's BlizzCon in relation.
Irvine.
Okay, yeah, that's.
I mean, compared to Texas, like, Portland, San Diego, Los Angeles, it's all west.
It's all west of here.
Yeah, it's in Irvine. The Irvine Convention Center where Disney is. If you wanted to take the kids out there. So.
Oh, thanks, Colin. We love you. The fact that you're here with us too.
I think my mouse bumped my volume because Brian got real loud, but
Ooh.
only for me. You still looked fine on the
Whoa.
on the overlay.
BlizzCon is Anaheim. Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely a drive.
That Irvine, Anaheim area. Isn't Anaheim and Irvine, aren't they near each other?
They would have to be, right? Yeah, all right. Yoshi P's on screen. I'm gonna kill the.
Well,
right.
yeah, I'll look up it. Now I gotta pull up a map of California.
Things we must know. Welcome on in, everybody. Thanks for being here. If you guys like the content, hit the like button. That's a great way of helping out the stream. So come on in and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, Anaheim and Irvine are both on the south side of Los Angeles. Okay. My dad's from Long Beach. Like, that's where he grew up. He's... So. Yeah.
All right, so catching everybody up for speed. Welcome in. This is going to be the live letter, which we're going to see more information about 6.25 and who knows what else. They've got a lot of special guests kind of lined up. This is a part of their 14-hour long broadcast, so this is going to be quite substantial. So hopefully you guys are having a really good day, and welcome in, everybody. We're really glad you're here. So obviously Foxclon is has outdone himself. At some point, people will tier list his costumes. So this is something going to be happening. If you guys want, Chris is hanging out at the Work to Game house over on Sargatanis. We're going to be covering this and summarizing this for y'all tonight. So if you miss any part of it, just always check the feed or the channel page, and get caught up on anything and everything that is going on in the world of Final Fantasy.
Yoshi is saying that he's having a bit of a hard time if he has to glance to his left. But of course, they will be reviewing patch 6.2 in the first half. There will be a second half and discussing the discussing the upcoming 6.25 patch. They said first half. Why would they say first half if there's not a second half? That answers that. Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting. It'd be a cool place to announce it. I just think it's early, Brian. Like, I can't imagine they announced FanFest this early.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. Like, it would feel like way too early for sure. Yeah, so it looks like there's going to be two parts.
Way.
Yeah, so it looks like part 2 is going to be introduction to the work of the scenario team with the story lead designer, senior story designer,
get this
and
in
the
2 hours.
I don't think
They're gonna have to move.
I don't think they need to worry about 2 hours. They're trying to burn 14.
No, but they have another thing scheduled. They've got a timeline they posted earlier.
Yeah, but there's baked in windows
Of like 15 or 30 minutes.
Why introduce the Archfiends in this order?
Now, Yoshi did say he wants to note that apart from them having the wrong HP number set for the last turn of Savage, they believe that the patch went pretty smoothly for patch 6.2. They are still sorry for that. So first, they're going to have a little review of Storm's Crown. Let's talk about some hair. Want to talk about some hair? Yeah.
Stop rubbing it in.
Your Instant Pause has a rice setting. Do not use the Instant Pot rice setting. All right.
We cook our rice in a pressure cooker, which ends up being really, really good rice.
We cook our rice in a pot on the stove. And it's really hard not to lose one layer of rice on the bottom.
Yeah.
You get good rice, but sometimes you lose a layer.
You gotta sacrifice it.
My buddy's mom is Korean, and so she grew up with a lot of rice, and she's from Korea, and so they make a lot of like kimchi and stuff themselves. And I have watched her make rice for years, and she literally just like scoops rice out, throws it in a pot, pours water in, throws it on, and it's perfect every time. I'm over here like measuring to the gram and just praying.
And they're asking Yoshi P, why was Barcelona hidden until the release of the patch? What were the intentions behind the appearance of this order of the Archfiends?
Did you get to do any Barbaresia Extreme?
Now, when I had to go to the ER, all that really threw me off.
I didn't know if you'd done it since.
I haven't done any of the hard stuff. I haven't done any of the raids. Like, I knocked that out, and it's kind of been like, all right, got 7 levels to go on board. Actually, almost 6 levels to go. So I'll soon be Omni 90, and I'll have a lot more flexibility.
So you just double checked. It goes Scarmeleon times 2. Cag Barbaruba.
Do you want to handle Yoshi P's answer to the question of why the order in this appearance?
Sure. He just said that we really want every player to enjoy the story. Having the excitement when progressing through it and figuring out things little by little, that's the main reason. Players will be thinking, who's next? It has to be this guy, right? And we keep them wondering this way. He's screwing with you is the answer. TLDR.
Keeping you on your toes. Yeah, and they've also done that a lot this expansion where it's like, oh, we think this is going to be a trial fight or whatever. Oh, turns out dungeon boss. Oh, okay.
Nice to see them sitting together without a divider. Oh, then there's divider.
Yeah, I was like, it depends on
I was
what
like,
angle.
man, they clipped it just right. I was like, man, they are back to no divider. What a cool time we're living in. Never mind. Ignore me. Still bubbles. I was like, wow. There was that one camera angle in it, like they had it just right, and I was like, "Whoa,
Hey, they're good. They're together.
hey, they've had a divider like every time." Never mind.
I do wonder how much of that is just theater, because they probably are meeting and talking normally, but to have that, like, hey, we're in this together kind of mindset. I don't know. Like, I don't care one way or the other.
I think like if you're right, so if you're somebody who personally doesn't care whether or not you wear a mask, and you go to a friend, you like go somewhere with a friend and they put on a mask, then you put on a mask. And so like I do think like like theater's the word, but like that's also manners. So like if they believe that part of the audience is still either being affected by this or is still concerned about this, then
you make
choosing to show it doesn't hurt anybody, and it makes those people feel really comfortable. So like as somebody who has 2 immunocompromised parents, when like if given the choice, I don't see why it's a big deal that like my parents or my family put a mask on.
Yeah. That's why Julie and I locked down so hard, because Julie's mom's got MS. My parents have, multiple comorbidities. So it's like, cool. Do your part. Do you can.
Yeah. Doesn't bother me. Just I thought it was interesting. If I was like, oh, that I do acknowledge that like all the extra safety doesn't make things more comfortable. There's a reason we weren't doing it before.
Yeah. Like for the other stuff, we're good.
So he's gone on to say, and as always, it will leave space for everybody to imagine how we bring characters from other Final Fantasy games. In this case, Final Fantasy IV, to the world of Final Fantasy XIV. Now, Voxcon went on to say, well, how the fight was designed, we have a very fast-paced fight, and it hits you with mechanic after mechanic in high tempo. And Yoshimi said, man, I am trying really hard to give serious responses, and I just can't with seeing you sit here like this. The recent fights focus a lot more on puzzle solving, so we did want to go a bit different direction with a more fast execution-based style.
Cool.
A hair-raising battle. A hair-raising
Karamag, being polite and courteous in Japan? Never would have guessed.
A hair-raising.
Like, how was the live letter? Well, I was really distracted by the Loprit sitting next to Yoshi P the whole time.
Loprit. There hasn't been a Loprit here in 40 years. Oh no, Brian, we're already losing you. Oh no.
I'll give it my best.
Oh no.
Well, we gotta film our summary, and then which we can stay exactly where we are, and then I can dip and get that uploaded, etc. Oh, excuse me. The mechanic where you're tied within the circle with the hair, we had so much trouble designing that one.
I liked that fight. I really enjoyed it. The Orzian Archives tried taking it on this week.
Yeah, nice.
I don't believe they got it clear. It can really wreck you. Like, it really accelerates. Like, the second half of it is very fast. Yoshimi did say when he first played, he wanted to leave that circle with the hair. And he thinks that was the first thing most players have tried. But then you get pulled back. It was difficult trying to make it clear that you have to stay inside the circle.
Yeah, that took me a couple of...
Oh, you touch the end of that circle, it's heartbreaking. Like, right before you have to, like, share a stack. And you're like, oh, no, I didn't touch it. I didn't touch it. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
You get back to the middle and you like it, pig. All right.
Now let's talk about Pandemonium. Players excited that La Habrea returned and even had voice lines during the fight. Oh yeah. That's where, like, one of the things I do really appreciate about this series of raids, because I remember when we were doing Omega and it was like silence on the raid fights, but then you go do the trial with Susano and all that, and it's like they had the voice acting for those fights, and it's like, man, why aren't the raids voiced? This would be so great.
So I did the last of the ARR class quest lines for my first time this week.
Yeah.
And it is heartbreaking that those are not produced at that kind of higher MSQ level.
Okay.
There is a lot of lore in there, a lot of lore. This week there were references to the Void, there were references to Sildine, to Belladia, to the Monetarists, to the Syndicate. All of these names that mean something now. And these were ARR references. And so the fact that you would go back in like a New Game Plus and not get rewards and not be given the theatrical experience that would really kind of make it sink home, like watching an old episode of TV or something, was really disappointing. For just how beautiful it is. Like as a compliment to the content, I wanted it to be more than it got to be at the time. So I'm looking forward to getting on to Heavensward quest lines. I've done 4 of them from the Glass Quest, but I'm looking forward to getting through all of them.
Nice.
That'll be kind of the next lore week. And then we'll also be going through the 3 dungeons that tie to Amdapor, which will prep us for my first time in Alexander. So I've got a lore layout. Chris the Mod's been kind of laying everything out for me so that I know what order to do things in without knowing what happens.
Nice. Now on to, I find
One
this
Great.
to be super interesting. I'd love to know your thoughts because Yoshi P says, we were able to touch upon most of the Asians until patch 6.0. Now, apart from La Habrea, because he had an early exit, but we felt like we wanted to dive in deeper. And so I like that aspect, the fact that La Habrea, they can explore him as a character and give us way more insight because we did get so much deeper relationship with the other Asians, with Elidibus and with, why am I drawing a blank on his name? You know, the guy.
It's actually why I was so hurt with Shadowlands from World of Warcraft getting a shortened patch schedule, because it was the one expansion for them that made sense to kind of go back and re-explore this. So the fact that 14's been able to do it with not just their MSQ, but also with their raid storyline and you know, the trials are meaningful and the alliance raid's meaningful, and I'm betting that the Sildine Belladia stuff is meaningful. And so it just feels like they've done a really good job taking Endwalker for what it is and saying, okay, this is our chance.
Nice.
And I was kicked off the game. The server connection was lost. My God.
My goodness. So Yoshi P didn't even know that they actually had voice lines for him until he play tested it. His initial reaction was, "Oh, we have extra voice lines for him," and my team just kind of responded, "Yeah, we just added them." And Yoshi P says, "We've always been trying to stay within a tight budget, but thanks to the recent success, they will able to add a little bit more." So, have you guys heard about the free trial?
Speaking of theater,
Let's
how
go.
much of that do you think is honestly catches him off guard, right? Like honestly surprises him. Lobby connections are connected.
Well, he's also, I would say, there's a chance because he's also so busy with 16, and so that he's brought in a team. So, like, he doesn't need to be part of every hands-on thing, right? We've seen the team go through and do extra behind-the-scenes stuff, you know, to get more heads. So it could be theatrical in terms of that, like, goodwill. But at some point, like, I think that runs the risk of like being inauthentic, and then eventually like, oh, it's, you know, it comes out that Yoshi P is like, you know, yeah, get these voice lines in, we need them, you know, and then I think it kind of, I think that's something that doesn't have a long life to it. Oh yeah, thoughts on Savage releasing 1 week later?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. He said our development team has been improving a lot and we're able to work with the arena a lot more. So I think they've been talking about that, how like they go back, it's not just them making the content, but they've been going back and making the tools easier. With the trusts, for example, they went back and built a stronger tool, which allowed them to then put more trust in with, you know, because more devs could do more in less time and less experience with that system. So they're getting a lot of bang for their buck investing in the system rather than the content.
Yeah.
So, oh, you guys were in a duty. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's nice to hang out in game. I don't know that we're going to get to. I was not properly logged out. All right. Oh. Please wait and try logging in earlier. Well, we're all trying to get on. What are you gonna do? Okay. So he said this was the first time they released Savage a week later. And the feedback seems to have been very positive. And he said, thanks to everybody for the cooperation there. I've been reading the forums a lot as well. What do you guys think? Should we keep it like this? My thought is yes, wholeheartedly yes. And I have not seen anybody with a good enough reason for the number of people that this was better for. I have not seen anybody that truly comes out ahead by going back to the old way. I think this was a lot better. I do think one of the complaints was they didn't take the servers offline, which makes Savage Raiders feel like they had to take advantage of that 2 hours where you could farm extra tomes before the fights were available, but the servers were up. So I would say just take it down like you have in past patches. But he did say there was a concern about the new crafted gear not selling at all. But looking at the data, there are worlds that had way higher numbers of crafted gear being sold than before. I think so. I think a lot of people have been forced to choose over the years. Do I go take part in Savage while it's new with the Savage community that tends to not be a fan of you coming in later and not being experienced in some of those groups? Not all, but like week one tends to be those, like a lot more people are understanding of you being worse, but you're like, oh, but I was doing story and I was doing the extreme and I was doing Island Sanctuary. So then you come in 5 weeks late and your gear score is awful and you don't know the fight and you're like, I want to do it blind. And they're like, no, you need to watch the guide. And so like, I think this kind of gave everybody more of a chance to taste all of the content without having to feel like they have to choose a premiere experience in one type of content or a premiere experience in another, knowing that the whatever you don't choose will just be worse.
Oh, cool.
You just tried to resub, you're having issues. Is there something wrong with the launcher? The game seems to be being DDoS right now.
Yeah, Yoshi P said that there's like they've been dealing with some attacks and obviously people trying to log in and hack and break, do kind of an attack to get everybody's player data. That's what he's saying. Guys, use 2-factor, especially if you use the same password across multiple games, because it looks like another company got hacked, and that's how they're trying all the information against Square Enix.
So he is saying that we're in the stages of reviewing all the data we gathered, but we're leaning towards having the Savage release delayed. But Foxconn did note that the Lopery did note that with a few more adjustments, possibly, which I think is fair. I think a few more adjustments is pretty close. Now they're going to talk about job adjustments and kind of explaining the reason. If you listen to Mog Talk with Arthur's and Momo and Xenos, was that the group that was on there? There was like a question Arthur's asked, like, do you think the explanation made it better or worse? Or I think maybe Frosty asked it, and Arthur said yes. I think explaining it muddied the waters and gave people a chance to decide if that explanation was good or bad, instead of saying, here's the change, we don't think it's that big of a deal, and then waiting to see the fallout to then come out and clarify misunderstandings instead of trying to get out in front. But Xenos came at it totally the other way. It really helped me to understand this and process their thought process. Even if I disagree with it, I just want to know where they're coming from. So I think they're going to get some feedback both ways on that. The little operator says that we had a lot of feedback on the job adjustments and us explaining them. And Yoshipi says that we want to continue explaining our thoughts and what led to specific job adjustments. Some things have been taken out of context, and to clarify those better, we want to go into more detail here. So, that was a good show. I really enjoyed that one.
And thank you all so much for the 59 likes here on YouTube. The numbers that are here just lurking are massive. So you guys like this content, this coverage, and the summaries, etc. That like button is a massive way of helping out these streams. It's an evolving process. Yeah, I think this is a real positive. This is real positive. Yeah, Zoila, making it 60.
Do you know what this needs?
What does it need?
It needs like corn chips.
Chili? Yeah, of course.
I was just trying to. It says field meal replacement. It says it's a nutritionally complete food. But I guess you never actually need corn chips, and you're always nutritionally complete without corn chips.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law, when he goes on a diet, he does Whole30 plus chips. That's what he calls it. He goes, I'm not gonna cut chips.
I'm cutting chips.
It's not living. It's not living.
I'm not a monster.
I'll cut alcohol. I'll cut non-whole foods, but like, there's gotta be chips, or else what are we doing this for?
Yeah, what are you doing? What are you talking about?
It's good.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. A reminder. Reminding people of things that we make is a positive thing.
Did an alert just play?
Yeah. Subs, and went from like 59 likes to 95 likes. So thank y'all.
How come I didn't get the alert?
I don't know.
What? I don't see any alerts in the last 16 minutes. Oh, maybe it's a YouTube thing. No. Who knows, man?
Chicken wings sounds good.
Q is going fast. It's feeding me through. I started at like 900. I'm down to 700. So I'm getting back in. All right. Let's keep going here. So they said the data that we have might be different than the data players are looking at. Oh, it's definitely different. So it's an evolving process. One of the things we have an issue with, for example, is we only have DPS meters on people who choose to break, where there has to be a party where at least one person agreed to break terms of service and upload it to a public database. Step 2, we really only get good quality data from clears, which means if there's data that's coming up in attempts, when we see, oh, there's only this many of this class that cleared, we don't know how many attempts or how many hours of prog those classes had total, as an example. So now they've said only number adjustments for jobs in 6.25, and we will have a few more in 6.28. The 8 patches, the .x8s, are not a consistent timeline as far as I can tell. There doesn't seem to be like a guarantee. They're not like the .1s where it's always 1 to 2 weeks. So there could be some shift on that. 7s, 8s, those tend to be a little more like when it makes sense. We don't even always get those patches. We increased the hitbox sizes so that melee could be hitting the boss without any loss. But by doing that, the balance between ranged and melee is off. So we do want to adjust some numbers there. Action adjustments will not happen until patch 6.3. So with those little drops, we are now going to talk about PvP. Since introducing Crystalline Conflict, PvP has been very popular.
Yes, it has, dude. The numbers are incredible. Like in just return or retention, you go look at Steam charts just as a data reference point, and you look at since PvP adjustments, and like barely anybody's dropping off of Steam, where in the past it's always like patch drop, but PvP is a great way of keeping people connected and playing that, is always changing, so really happy with what they've done with Crystalline Conflict.
And Steam is not the majority of the player base, but it is a percentage of the player base. And so we can assume whatever trends affect the Steam population, at least to some degree, probably affect other aspects of the population as well. And it has nice, clear analytics that are easy to read, as opposed to the rest don't. The job adjustments for Crystalline Conflict will happen in 6.28, so something to look forward to. Something you can have right now is a gifted sub from Carrie Ann.
Oh, thank you, Carrie Ann.
Who's gifted 10 subs.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Was that 10? I think you did 3, I did 7.
Thank you. A bonus.
And one PvP adjustment that will happen in 6.25 is the Paladin cover. We will change the system here. Now they're going to talk about Island Sanctuary. First of all, thank you for your feedback. They do want the Loperate here says that what is the current state of Island Sanctuary and what are the future plans? Yoshi says that I was told, do you even know what slow life is from the Japanese community?
Do you even know what slow life is?
So we gotta wait on translation. It takes a second. There's a paladin cheese in front lines where 2 paladins cover each other and become invulnerable to all damage for 10 seconds. And run in and cap a tome and run out. Oh, that's funny.
Well, and even the changes like into like front lines, it's like oh man, I really would love for them to do another pass and just refine all the front lines. And yeah, I need to jump into Rival Wings. I just haven't. I think probably having a Rival Wings, like, you know, playlist, etc. Like, let's go.
Do you get all these notifications?
Yeah. I got them up. I think they're all playing. I had to make some adjustments on the side of the things here.
I can't believe Rival Wings didn't get a roulette. I don't think Crystalline Conflict needs a roulette because people are already doing it, and roulettes are to drive people.
Mm-hmm.
Because it sucks to be a player that's interested in a certain type of content and then not have anybody to do it with.
Yeah, Toffee says Rival Wings queue on their server's pretty bad.
And so roulettes are to make sure nobody's getting stuck. You know? And so, like,
Yeah.
a Crystalline Conflict wouldn't even... And it wouldn't even really help you that much because you'd get somebody to come in for 4 minutes a day.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not what you need them for. You need somebody that's going to run 10 matches back to back to back if you're going to really try to make lobbies fast. So, like, I think roulette-wise, Rival Wings is primed for it. Lunar Break, 13 months. Thank you. So, now, EHP has said that players from overseas generally enjoy content on their own pace, but Japanese players have this tendency to do any task they see and try to optimize the way of doing it. That's funny because in the past he said that about Western players with our DPS meters and all that.
Yeah.
And the fact that we'll, for example, use way markers that are what they call them, unlawful.
Unlawful. Yeah.
Outside of the law. Outside of the law. What just happened? Lucky just gifted 5 more subs. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucky.
Thank you, guys. I cannot believe it's over 9:50. We're going to be having a thank you stream later this month for you guys. Just because we blew through the goal in October.
Mm-hmm.
And so Yoshi says that players see an empty schedule in the workshop and they feel the need to fill it with something. I mean, who doesn't love a good spreadsheet? He said, but especially overseas.
Yeah.
We are seeing that players visit their island every couple days. And Lunar with 10 more. Guys, I'm so sorry I didn't get the alerts up. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Lunar.
I'm sorry.
You gotta let it go, Chris. Best way to apologize is next time you get the opportunity, just get those things knocked out.
A lot today.
Yeah, thank you all for clipping, by the way.
Thank you for clipping.
Yeah.
The more you clip, the more variety can be in this. All right.
Oh, thanks, Night Teddy. That's an awesome name, by the way.
Now, he said there is also the feedback that players wanted to design their own islands more freely. That was I didn't like that.
Oh, yeah, with the placement of the objects
and
and
have
stuff?
their individual islands stand out. We knew this would happen, but this is very difficult to implement.
We knew this was going to happen, guys.
I mean, we were like, this is not good, but ship it.
Ship it.
And so he said, we're trying to allow players to place. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, wow. This is big. This is big, guys.
Ready?
Get ready. Buckle the F up.
Yoshi P. Trying to remember what voice I gave him when we did his interviews the other day. I didn't want to actually try to imitate another living person that's not like an actor or something. So I think I gave him the voice that I gave him when I do the anniversary event, which is like a character in game. That's him. But he did say that we're trying to allow players to place garden housing items on their island. We do not. Okay, hold on. Everybody stay with me. I already see the clips and headlines coming out.
Yep, they're already
with me.
Yeah, they're already printed.
We do not have a release schedule for this feature yet. Okay. So let me read this in a way that's more clear. We do not have a release schedule for this feature yet. We are trying to allow players to place some garden housing items. We do not have a release date for it, and they would be on their island, and we do not have a release date for it. We are trying to do this, and we do not have a release date for it.
And Fido in chat says, you mean 6.35 confirmed?
Oh, I can't believe that's coming out before 6.2 on the 18th.
Yeah, you suck. You humans. Yeah, this is great. Oh my gosh, if that could evolve and essentially allow like
Animal Crossing confirmed.
Animal Crossing confirmed. You heard it here. Nah. I hear these work to game guys. They confirm a lot of things. Yeah. Coloside says, I can't believe it's in a hotfix right now. That's why the servers went offline just a minute ago.
It's crazy. Pride is right. It's crazy that they delayed the 5th Ultimate for housing island furniture.
Yeah. Teddy's like, I don't think I caught that. Is there not a release date? Are you sure? That's so funny.
The trade-off for having fashion accessories the way they are right now is the other actions, like emotes, can't be executed at the same time because they use the system memory. We can try to improve this, but it will take time.
Yeah, the DDoS that is implementing these features as we speak.
No release dates, what somebody who wanted it to release and surprise us would say.
Yeah.
It's like when people were blown away by the Diablo Immortal announcement, and they posted before BlizzCon that there would not be a Diablo 4 announcement. And they're like, yeah, that's what somebody with a Diablo 4 announcement would say. Okay, then what would somebody without one say? Like, I don't...
You wouldn't say anything. It's like, all right. But yeah, that was a doomed announcement no matter which way you slice it.
All right. Now, they did say this patch brought Titania weapons. There was also a new challenge. That's what? Question mark? What? Is he asking me?
He's talking about the trade-off for fashion accessories. The way that they have them right now is that other actions like emotes can't be executed at the same time because they use the same system memory. They want to try to improve this, but this is going to take time. But maybe something got skipped.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. That just posted on my out of order. Or it actually went back and slid up above it, which is weird. It's about Discord, it's about discourse, not perfect.
Not perfection.
Timelines.
Perfection.
I will tell you, when it comes to Brian and I, fashion accessories not being able to be used while you're doing emotes, not really affecting the way we consume Final Fantasy XIV. We're not your guy.
Yeah.
We could try to be your champion on a lot of casual things. We're not the emote while fashion accessorying. It's not us. It's why we adore people like Mione.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Probably has a video for each individual Titania weapon with each individual emote. He's very thorough. And he has a more soothing voice than us. He loves this game.
Dude, I wish 14 would come to the Switch. Like, it plays so good on the Steam Deck, and it just needs that cloud version.
All right. Now, Yoshi says, since introducing Ultimate Weapons, where we tried to have very flashy effects, our gear design team has been stepping up the quality of effects for new weapons, and the gear has improved a lot. The issue with us stepping up is that the player feedback also steps up. And our Fox Cloning Way says, you raised the standard too much? To which Yoshi says, now we've been asked to add an option to disable the gear visual effects. It's not that simple. Ladies and gentlemen, I am back in game.
Nice. And yeah, worldwide, they're going to go over 6.25 stuff. They're doing kind of their lessons learned from 6.2 because there's been a lot of, like, obviously drama and controversy over some, certain changes and things like that. So it's kind of nice for them to go and give a little bit more insight in more detail. And that's going to be part one. Part two, they're going to be bringing out the story team. So we might just summarize what they talk about in in part 1. It really will fill out what part 2 is about.
He did say he had a meeting yesterday about the graphics update for 7.0.
Woohoo.
Those will allow us to go further with designs. We will keep improving. Please keep providing feedback.
Just be nice about
please
it.
be nice about it.
Yeah.
Please.
It takes, in my mind, like, it's not even a lot of effort to be like, hey, I like this. I think this could change, you know, or I'd like to see this feature implemented.
He said he remembers when players were happy that they were just able to dye gear. Now everyone wants us to allow them to dye only specific parts of gear.
Give a mouse a cookie, dude.
I mean, I will tell you that other games can do it. So, you know, back when like we were doing something truly unique and they were like, this other thing can't be done. We're like, I believe you. But then another game comes along and it's like, here it is. And you're like, oh. He said that was the 6.2 review. Now, on to 6.25. The patch release day for 6.25.
October 18th.
October 18th. Come on. Are you ahead of me? It doesn't say that yet. Are you ahead of me?
Of course I
Are
am.
you in the future? Oh, there it is. It's right. I was looking over in the translation as if they're going to translate. Ladies and gentlemen.
We called it.
Oh my gosh.
How long ago did we call it? We called that.
Oh, many moons.
We called that when they announced the patch.
Many moons.
Date.
Many moons. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh.
Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. And that I think is going to help lead more credence to, like, people are like doubting our call for the date on 6.3, and it will come. I have a lot of faith that we have the right date on 6.3.
Do you? You don't think I'm too far?
No, I do not. They're not going to launch that on Christmas.
All right.
I don't think anyway.
Somehow further Hildebrand adventures. Remember, you need to be doing this. If you're a story skipper, this is like an hour. Go ahead and do the trial sync. They're a blast. If you are not a story skipper, this is probably 12 to 15 hours worth of time if you have never, ever, 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 ever touched Hildebrand. The weapon enhancements quest, the Mandeville weapons. The same people that own the Mandeville golden saucer. The tribal quests. This is going to be our gathering quest. The Omicrons. And then the variant dungeons and the criterion dungeons, keeping in mind that variant dungeons and criterion dungeons are all part of one big system. Variant is your story mode. You WoW players, this is like if you had an LFR for Mythic Plus, kind of, because they are unique dungeons. So there is no like normal and heroic for these. You jump straight into variant. It's gonna have multiple paths. There people are gonna have like limited actions. You can it's nuts. Then we're gonna step it up into criterion, limited reses. Nobody has a res, but there's gonna be like you're not gonna have reses as like a red mage or as a healer, but then we'll have these limited actions with limited number of reses. You go into savage, no reses. The savage will also mean that if everything dies, you start over, as opposed to the criterion. If everybody dies, you just go back to where everybody died.
Oh yeah.
So, it's a lot. We're gonna get our first one, the Sildine Subterrane, this patch. We'll get another one with 6.4 and another one with 6.5 is the estimated roadmap. American Data Center expansion. Yeah. I heard it was November 2nd. They're saying November 1st. Maybe they were talking November 2nd in Japan.
Maybe.
Cool.
November 1st. I mean, that's a Tuesday.
Cool.
Yeah, and November 2nd is the fresh start service for New World. So I was like, man, why can't I just get an MMO that just like, you know, like little teeters here, teeters here, teeters here. They're going to be running both on the same day. Well, I'll be at work, so I'll have to tell Julie, like, I'm busy on the 18th, babe.
And they showed off that glamour and they said there was a spy family that's very popular lately. He is excited. They were finally able to finish the last steps for the North American Data Center expansion. This is going to be a new data center, guys. This is going to have I
Dynamis.
4 new worlds.
Yeah.
Brand spanking new.
And they'll add 4 more next year.
And so we will be moving up to 28 worlds as a region, which is really exciting. That moves us much closer to the 32 that JP has. This will likely be rolled out the same way they rolled it out when they first rolled out like Crystal and all of that.
Yeah.
Except that they will not be, these are all new worlds. We're not migrating people off or any of that shenanigan right now. But keep in mind with Data Center Visit, none of that's really the problem that it once was.
Yeah.
Halicarnassus, Maduin, Marilith, and the Seraph.
And thanks, guys, for 120 likes. So, you guys are amazing. Times 120.
These will have houses, so if you want an FCI house on there, you're going to want to go ahead and move
Get on
characters
that.
over or create characters day 1 because there's going to be that 30-day waiting period. Keep in mind you don't get to create an FC right when you get a new character. And then, so the housing lottery will begin Saturday, November 5th. They're going to have a few people transferring. You can't get to 3 million gil that fast. I mean, somebody will, but please don't. Shibini said, with 4 new servers, but we expect the player base to grow in 7.0, so it's only 4 for now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if the next 4 come in the summer, unless there's another delay, etc. But
I see that in text. You say, it's the new data center is called Dynamis. I can't quite tell what your is that like you're disappointed in that or you're excited about that. Either way, I
read it as an excited, like, oh, how cute.
Emotional energy. I think there's some emotional energy about that.
You've been asking for Dynamis and Ulda for years. Oh, good, excited. Yeah, I was like, I read that as excited.
Do you think they get stronger limit breaks on that data center?
That'd be so cool. Like, oh yeah.
You're stuck in prey with half the party missing. Oh no. We have Ether and Dynamis on North America. Yes. What was the other word? There was one more word. What was the word in Thapner?
Oh, Akasha.
Akasha. Now we can get an Akasha. Thank you.
But Akasha is Dynamis. But that's fine. I'll allow it.
Akasha is Xbox exclusive. No crossplay, no cross save.
Oh, that would be the worst choice they could make. I would be so pissed. Like, you finally did it and you screwed it up.
A while ago, he said that like that was one of the things they weren't going to do it back when they couldn't find a way for it to be crossplay, cross save. So, but at this point, he said there are no more restrictions. So I assume they've got that sorted. All right. They're working on adding new housing plots. They can't say much about that yet as they haven't finalized the schedule. Once again, guys, they have not finalized the schedule about adding new housing plots, and that's why they can't say anything about finalizing the schedule about new housing plots, which they can't finalize the schedule. People are going to say moon housing confirmed.
That's what I was supposed to say. Like, housing on the moon when? Let's go.
God.
It's built. It's built for us.
There is a possibility that the DC expansion maintenance will be 24-hour. We're not sure yet. That is it for the first part.
Oh, they didn't really go much into Criterion. Okay.
Fascinating.
Fascinating.
Ooh. Don't drop them.
Yeah, the scenario writer team is coming out.
They've had them on before.
Mm-hmm.
I think FanFest was the last time we spoke with them. They asked them questions about different storylines. Things they've written. And maybe we're about to do the same thing. How exciting. Waiting for translation. We're waiting. There's gonna be a bunch of general pleasantries. They're all nice people. Oh no, that one mob rate's about to fall off. No, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall. Okay. Lead story designer. Daichi Heroi. Fell in love with Dragon Quest thanks to parental influence, and also perfect thing to bring up in a job interview with Yoshi P ever. 2004 began acting in a small theater productions as a student. That is one thing I regret not being more involved in is theater.
Dude, I love doing
I was
theater.
in tech theater.
Yeah, that's Julie did tech theater.
Founded a theater company and began writing stage plays. Ooh, next level. And then experienced a life-changing event. Vague. Could be anything. Which made them join Square Enix. Or didn't, but was the same year. So Yoshi says, you started a theater company and you're still getting nervous on stream now? Nothing makes people feel more comfortable than calling out that they're nervous. Yes. Really? Really? And so you're telling me that having thousands and thousands of people, could we get the live count in front of him on the stream?
Sure.
Could we go ahead across all platforms?
46,000 here on YouTube.
You know, so I see 46,000. Does that bother you? There's another 17.6 thousand on Twitch. Would you say 17.6 makes you nervous?
And with no script. And with no script.
That's interesting. He said I wouldn't be if I was following a script. This is very different. And that his theater company didn't go that well. My theater company went so well, I now work at a video game company. You could argue that's all my previous careers. How well have your previous careers gone? Well, I talk about video games and stay at home now. Not well. So that was his real intro into scenario writing. He thinks he joined the team around 2.3. Well, let's go see. 2014. 2014. 2.3 came out in July. I don't know how far in advance they are. But if he came out then, that would have been July of 2014. Yeah. Defenders of Eorzea. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. What a wild time. What a wild time we live in. He says, in the main story, he's mainly responsible for the patches between expansions. That is still a lot. These are his principal quest lines. 4.2, 4.4, 5.1, 5.5. Chronicles of a New Arrow, Shadow of Mach, Pandemonium, Tataru's Grand Endeavor, Bard Quest since 3.0, Black Mage since 3.0. Dancer quests, 5.0 magical DPS role quests, Palace of the Dead, an assistant to the guest writer for the Return to Ivalice and Save the Queen. There you go.
Oh, thanks, Mick. Yes, Stream Deck, dude. If it ever does come like to any other platform, I'm glad that it runs on Steam Deck, because that is a game changer.
Yoshi says that his impression is that you founding that theater company has been a huge advantage. You bring a lot of qualities outside just writing. And then they ask, sometimes I wonder how a talented person like him ended up with us. Well, that's nice. Different life experiences can be interesting. They can bring in a lot of diversity to a team like that. Authoring almost all of the 100,000 plus characters worth of Japanese text implemented at launch of the Manderville Golden Saucer. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa. I just did all that lore for the first time this week. All the unlock quests. Had a nice time. I did everything. I even did like Mahjong and stuff that wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
We just went through and did all the plus signs. Some of it was really delightful. Some of it was like just really the right amount. It wasn't like too over the top. Like I know some people, Hildebrand's not their thing, but it wasn't. But it was still very light and aware of kind of its place. So he says that's a bad memory that he has. That he was responsible for writing all of those characters right after he joined the team. And so he says his first impression was, so I guess this is game development? Was actually a bit off. I bet that was a lot of crunch.
Yeah.
Yoshpi talks about sometimes in like in the documentary, he talks about how going into 2.0 while developing and supporting 1.0, you know, back in like 2010 through 2012, he told the team like, this is going to be hard, but it'll get easier after we come out of A Realm Reborn. And then he literally starts laughing in the interview because it did not get easier. Did not get easier. That was it for the live letter. The first part.
This is part 2, and this is just them talking with the main scenario team. So, like, there's only a handful of announcements that really are kind of constituting 6.25. They didn't go into really gameplay. They've already kind of shown off gameplay, so we were kind of curious as to see if they're going to do more. So, we got the date for October the 18th, which is what we predicted, which is great. And when we're going to hear about point 3, Chris, do you probably have a date on that spreadsheet for November, for the first live letter for November?
So the first.
Oh shit, or shoot, excuse me. A new lore book, chapter 3.
How do I order it?
You don't. There's nothing inside of it.
Okay, but how do I order it?
Cozy Gamer, thank you for sharing Prime with us using that Bezos box. We know you got a choice. If you do have Amazon Prime, you get a free Prime sub every month that you can put on any Twitch streamer. It really does mean the world for us. Yeah, Fido, shut up and take my money for the Lore Book 3.
Okay, so let's go.
Maybe at FanFest, Chris? Maybe at a FanFest? Oh, that'd be sweet.
All right. So you wonder. Stand by.
Yeah, Casey, 1018. Yeah, anytime, Casey. You just let us know what you need.
5. This is for the 18th. Equals this date minus this date. All right. And then you're wondering when the next one is. I don't have the live letter predicted yet, but I can do the math.
Yeah, do that math.
Okay.
If we're gonna have a second live letter in December, that will lead into.
But we could have 2.
I think we usually have to.
I think we'll have 2. We usually have 3 between 6.2 and 6.3. So if this is 11 days and this is 66 days, and that makes this
Korean barbecue.
November 5th. November 5th. What day of the week is that?
That would be. It's the second. Would be Tuesday.
No, November 5th.
It'd be Friday, right?
It'll probably be the 4th. So, I bet it's the first Friday of November. is the next live letter,
Nice.
which means we would find out probably the same week that pre-patch goes live for 14 for World of Warcraft, that kind of 25th last week.
Mm-hmm.
So I bet it's that November. Yeah. November 4th. That's my guess for the next live letter. And then that would put live letter 75 New Year's Eve. So the last week of December.
Okay.
Which that's a Friday. They could move it to the 27th if that's more convenient for them. They did say they regretted releasing like Savage or anything like that. So that's my guess. That's my guess. White Tsubagi. Korean barbecue. Oh, it'd be good.
We were talking about getting that, and then apparently that place closed. So I want to go get some Korean barbecue. I've been craving it. The only time I had it, was in Vegas with you.
They did say the Japanese text is almost finished. And Yoshi says, "See your writing after all." He said, having the Japanese version translated in English is a lot of effort, but we want to release the Japanese and English version at the same time, but translating is taking time. Sorry for the extra work, translation team. Yoshi says printing is also an issue. The quality of prints is a lot higher than in Japan than in other places. So we decided to print everything here and then ship it overseas. All right, so now we're on the next one. Natsuko Ishikawa. Ishikawa, guys, this is the real deal. Ishikawa was responsible for the 6.0 MSQ, has also written some side quests in 6.3 since it fit their field. They were the 6.0 main scenario writer. They were the 6.1 Omega Beyond the Rift and the 6.3 Redacted side quest series. They also wrote the Near Reincarnation plus 14 collaboration quests, all 4 Tales from the Dawn, coordinating effort between the scenario and sound teams. Their primary duties since 6.1 are editorial supervision of the scenario team, text, and team management. She's climbing the ladder, so more supervising work now. I mean, she also wrote Rogue and Dark Knight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, they couldn't fit everything on the slide that Ishikawa has done. They're often called scenario writers, but I'd say scenario planners is a more fitting description. Which means everything from flavor text to battle dialogue to text content and quality, naming conventions, creation of world lore, scenario text, plot creation, NPC dialogue, reviewing content after implementation, various design specifications, and schedule management. So going into detail for everything is too much. So I'll take the role quest from 5.0 as an example because he had worked on those. So they also went over Bar and Odra. Ishikawa's legend. Also did Coils? No freaking way. No way. No way.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for the making of role quests, you would vision for previous job quests to offer a story featuring the player's job in the spotlight to provide an additional source of motivation to level other jobs. So this is all under conceptualization before they get to brainstorming. If Chris had feels Ishikawa is responsible for it, that might be true. Ishikawa might be the only person that's made me cry in an MMO.
Yeah, was she responsible for your ugly cry?
Yeah. Because she did Shadowbringers too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes. Yes, I think so. I'm trying to think of any time I would have cried other than Dark Knight. Heaven's Word. Heaven's Word's had some emotion. Yeah. Not in the spots that I thought it would. Oh, she was the writer for 3.2 and 3.4. Well, crap. I think it was the patch content that hit harder. I found 3.4 and 3.5. 3.3, 4, and 5, just epic amounts. And 4.0. All right, all right. So maybe. It's possible I've never cried if Ishikawa didn't write it in 14. That's wild. You getting buffering or something?
Yeah, I got buffering for a second, but it only took a second. Looks like it back. Or
All
maybe it's buffering again. Not sure. Oh, let me just click on live.
I can just replace his.
There we go. Cool. Ah. There, it's back. Yeah, what is going on with the internet tonight?
Ishikawa was the only woman who could make Chris cry. It's possible. It's possible. Server DDoS, stream DDoS. They've had some panels like this at FanFest too. Oh. Are they? Okay, they said the YouTube stream is lagging, so technical break. Oh. Cool. All right. Come on. They'll come back. They'll do it. They're slowly recovering. Cool. I want one of those banners that's in the back, the things that pop up like that. They have those at the media tour. When you go to the media tour or at the sign-in desk, they had that pulled up.
Yeah.
Super cool.
I switched to stand mode.
Super cool. They did a panel like this at PAX for Shadowbringers, and Ishikawa got a standing ovation. That makes sense. Hi, Brian. Bye. Oh, it looks ridiculous. We're losing him. As somebody that like is still kind of getting the lore wrapped around in my head, I'm excited to try to go find these and go back through them later. Because a lot of this, they start to reference stuff that like hasn't really affected me. When they start to get into the switch to roll quest and stuff, like I didn't really have that much of an opinion on that. It seemed fine. It seemed logical when they explained why. So
I like all the scrolls with nuts on the wall and at the computer.
they're
I guess they're using it to cover up things that they've probably written down that they don't want people to try and decipher.
oh, because people would.
Yeah.
People are probably looking at the reflection of his glasses right now. You love the interaction between the 14 dev team and the community. Such a difference with other games. Guild Wars is fostering a lot of this. It's younger, right? This is live letter 73. And so they've been around a long time, but the number of live events is much less. So, you know, that is part of that. And at at BlizzCon, I've heard of really great experiences, but it's not maintained throughout the year, which is really hard. So to be able to maintain it over a large number of years and maintain it consistently throughout each of those years is something that a lot of games really struggle with.
Yeah.
While maintaining content pacing.
It's interesting because like New World is doing this and they're doing it on a once a month, but they actually have theirs as pre-recorded and then basically edited, which like has some value to it as well, but they're also in our native language. So it's like, okay.
Ashes of Creation's doing this, and they've sat down with Asmongold and had all these different conversations and all that, but like they're not maintaining a consistent patch schedule at the same time because the game's not out yet.
Right.
Is the Guild Wars story as good as 14's? I've only done the first expansion. I really enjoyed it. It's fully voiced, including your character. It's fully voiced. Based on your race and gender, you get a voice assigned to you. And there's like some award-winning voice actors. It's incredible. So it's just different. You know, I think a good person to ask that question would be Rookery. Rook over there has done both and is very passionate about the lore on both, and actually sits on both the Lightbringers podcast, where they address the lore and stuff, and has actually done the lore summaries that play at the beginning of Guild Wars live events. They actually play her lore summary on the big live stream. And she is also on the Aetheryte Radio podcast, the podcast put out by Gamerscape, one of the best resources for Final Fantasy XIV information. So there's a lot there. So like I you know, if you ever have questions about all that, she is both an ArenaNet partner, meaning she's partnered officially with the devs of Guild Wars, and so if you try the new trial or anything through her links, she gets supported, as well as she's invited to do all sorts of things with companies like Square Enix. So she's a brilliant resource who really gives a lot to both communities.
Yeah, I hope we hear more about Blue Mage soon too. But I would probably venture to bet we're thinking our estimate would be 6.4, right? At a minimum. What do you think, Chris?
What?
For a Blue Mage update around 6.4.
That makes sense to me, because why would you have side content compete with Deep Dungeon?
Yeah, that, or if they added a new job, that'd be.
It's also like, yeah, I think you could release it in 6.4, and if you had another limited job, you could announce it at FanFest and drop it with 6.5.
Oh, that'd be so sweet.
Did you see that the model of the Warrior Darkness Become a Sin Eater was based on the Archangels of 11?
Yeah. Yeah, they were really well done. A lot of like when you also go into like all of the it's not mock, but it's the what's the term? It's the one in the Amdaporians. Like they were very driven off that design. So when you go into, you know, all that, you end up having like that heavily. There's a lot of 11 design in that, which tied into the Shadowbringers for sure. That's when they first, because they've really been like slowly introducing 11 models, which is just like awesome for me as an 11 player.
So since 6.1, they have a scenario team, an implementation team, and a global team with language leads, event leads, and scenario leads. They've made role quest completion a requirement to progress the story in 5.0, which led to players being stuck and having to return to catch up with the role quest. So we changed this for 6.0.
Yeah.
I think there are people who think stories are really great, so they should be mandatory. So there are people who say like Omega should be mandatory or Evil should be mandatory because they really enjoyed it. We have a big ask of new players already. We already asked them to do like 600 hours of lore or something stupid to be all the way caught up with today and do just one job quest all the way through. So part of the joy is you got to do it when you wanted to. The moment you force something, you run into all sorts of weird friction and things like that. So I think you want to be very careful, not just forcing only, like you don't want to just say, if it's good, it should therefore be forced. And I think they do a good job of continually reminding and encouraging people to dive into the lore. You know, they told us to do Omega before Endwalker. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But like if they had said you need to clear Omega prior to Endwalker or you can't step foot in Endwalker, I think that sends a very different message. And so like they've made those calls before with like Crystal Tower and the 5.0 role quests, but it doesn't need to all be like that. So one shirt you saw for Final Fantasy had ... on the front and punctuated indecision since 1987 on the back. It's funny. So is that who's in front of us? A scenario lead, an event lead, and a language lead? Or are they all... Because it said they were all writers, but... Or are they not all leads?
I don't know.
Those three are overviewing a team that is writing the main story. So those three are not writing the story themselves in 6.1. Aside from our scenario team, there's the inflammation team. Oh, that's separate. This team is responsible for making the scripts that we provide into the actual game. Okay. Them going back and making Crystal Tower mandatory in 5.3 always felt like an odd choice. As somebody that did not do Crystal Tower for lore until after Endwalker, Crystal Tower did not need to be mandatory in Iflaria. I enjoyed Shadowbringers just fine without it. Endwalker, if you don't know Crystal Tower, you also don't, like, I also didn't know Omega. That was a mistake. I also didn't know, right? So, like, there's all these things they reference. So, like, saying, oh, there's 600 backwards references, but it's important you have this one feels weird to me. And going back and doing Crystal Tower after was super meaningful. It was super meaningful. The finale of Crystal Tower. That's another one. She didn't write Crystal Tower, did she? Because I cried at the end of Crystal Tower. When he says, I hope to see you again. When he says, like, farewell, I hope we see each other soon, I lost it, and I didn't. And because I was from the future.
Right.
And so, like, it didn't need to be mandatory. Because he's there regardless. I did a quest today where I quested with Ymirtra, and Ymirtra, I'd already met her from a future storyline. So I could have met her before that, because I did an ARR storyline where I met her, but I met her in Heavensward. So, like, just because order of events happen doesn't mean that each individual player needs to have cleared each individual thing. So how does our friend get there if he was never there to begin with? He was there. But you're letting the player make that call. Because you could also argue my not doing the events of Omega, that Endwalker storyline doesn't make any sense. So Omega should have been mandatory. And you're arguing that if you don't do the Summoner quest line, you shouldn't be allowed to do the Heavensward story because you need to meet Ymirta in Akpulu Falls. And so, like, my argument is that why did Crystal Tower make the leap? But at that point, why not make it all mandatory? The entire game. Why not just make every single plus sign quest mandatory? All of them. The fact that you would not do Dusk Vigil. Dusk Vigil is not mandatory. That's crazy. Dusk Vigil is a substantial amount of lore. Cutter's Cry is not.
Cutter's Cry, I love that one. It was so cool in 1.0.
Temple of Karn hard. If we're going to make Hildebrand necessary for Sildene, why are we not required to do Temple of Karn and Temple of Karn hard? We should be. You don't have to do Amdapor or Alexander. So I just think it's weird that Crystal Tower got to justify being written into canon and nothing else did. Hildy is necessary for 6.25. It's mandatory. Return to Evil East was mandatory for Baz Yazadnor.
I'm glad they made the Crystal Tower a required piece of it. It feels more natural to ARR, but I wish they would also make things like Omega required. but that's harder how they design the
don't-
content.
Sildine may be doable without Hildy, but the Manderville weapons are not. The relic is not. It's required for relic. Thank you. I've been up a long time today.
Yeah, today has been
It's
a day.
It's Manderville Tory. Thank you. Brilliant. Oh. And the fact that you would go into the Sildine subterrane and not have done the monk quest is a mistake. It's a mistake. If you're trying to have a pure lore experience, if that's the argument for Crystal Tower becoming mandatory, then you should have to do, prior to going into Sildine Subterrane, you should have to do Hildy, 2.0 MSQ, and Monk as a minimum. A minimum. So, I don't know. There is a quest after Heaven's Word, MSQ, a side quest that is put into New Game Plus that is not mandatory. So they took the time to put a side quest into New Game Plus, which is very rare. Unbelievably rare. And yet it's not mandatory. Should be. So. All right.
We used to have a global team for the entirety of Square Enix, but since 14 is so successful, I pretty much requested my own team here. And so Koji is also a part of Business Unit 3 now. And then they're talking about the roleplay quest that they introduced in patch 4.3. And that's something that they were able to bring back for Shadowbringers to allow us to, instead of just like hear about them or kind of witness them through the echo, we could kind of actually play through that experience, which is cool.
Cool. And you see their armor improve. Yeah, we saw that with the trust system too.
Yeah, see, I could have seen like what Mark is saying. Like, I would like they didn't have to make it a part of ARR's storyline, but like, oh, you want to go into Shadowbringers? Like, here's this quest that you want to do to unlock this facet, right? Because then essentially you get into a question of time. You know, it's like, all right, yeah, what, you know, we can get called back because he needs us to go get him in the tower.
I enjoyed Crystal Tower an awful lot, and I didn't do it till after Endwalker.
Yeah,
and I already had a relationship with him. It was fine. It was totally fine. I will say there is one moment where he said, "Hey, bud, don't you know who I am?" And I said, "No." And you guys were like, "What?" No.
I don't know who you are.
Nope.
It's like I knew who you were the whole time.
But then I got to meet him for the first time, and he said, "Hi, nice to meet you." And I was like, so doing it out of order was totally fine. Totally fine. I'm looking forward to doing Omega out of order. Could it have been great to know it prior to Endwalker? Absolutely. The Omicron quest would have made so much more sense. Of course. Could it have made Tool better? Probably. But now I am going to be hanging on every word. So, like, it pays off either way. Pays off either way. Because now they're going to say things, and I'm already going to know things that are important, that by doing them in order, you couldn't have. Nanamo Ulnamo. Namo Ulnamo? I don't know, whatever. She says some stuff about the Omega weapon in 2.0. You guys couldn't have known to hold on to that. You couldn't have known to hold on to that information and store that away, knowing that that would become a raid series in 4.x and then be referenced in 5.x and 6.x. You couldn't have known. Chris probably reads the last chapter of the book and starts from the start. I mean, we already start in the middle. Like, the events of the realm are already happening. We don't start at the beginning of time. We already start in medias res. We already start in the middle of a story. There's already conflict going on. There's already Asians. There's already been a calamity. That's where we start at the beginning of 2.0. So saying, here's the story, and we start in the middle, and I'm going to start further in the middle, Oh, you can't start in the late middle. You got to start in the early middle. You can't be changing which middle you start in. It's been fine. It's been fine. It's been fine. I've totally enjoyed it. I'm not saying mine should be the premier free trial starting experience, but I have enjoyed it plenty. It's been great.
Yeah, I say I would disagree with you because like when they did start talking about Omega, that's where I was like, oh yeah. Now I couldn't tell you in 2.0 that it was going to end up in a raid, but it was something like this is something to be like excited about because they're like, oh, and then how it ended up finally coming, coming up later, and the fact that they were able to seed that stuff so early on, like I thought was really thrilling.
Did you store the stuff about Belladia and Sildine?
Well, I mean, I know of the cities. I remember having a dream about the city itself back throughout the game's rebirth, etc. But yeah, I'm not going to be an expert on it like at this point, but I do know of the.
And yet I was so like when I was doing those quests with Monk this week.
Yeah.
There's all the right. I have all this context that you didn't have.
Yeah, you have all this. Yeah, because you know what's about to come, as opposed to like, oh, I have no idea. It's like, okay, this is information that we want to know about the world, and it's cool that with the Criterion Dungeons, we're actually getting to go and explore this story more. So these seeds, because that's what's like one of the things that it's interesting with 14. We've talked about its personal challenge is that it's built this narrative, and this narrative expands all the way to the end of Endwalker. But there's all these other stories. There's so much more of this world that we have yet to see, yet to experience, but the foundations are there, the stories are there, and parts of them maybe have been uncovered to some degree, but not to be able to highlight it on a bigger stage.
The other advantage of coming in late and doing things out of order is you did not enjoy Stormblood as much as you did Heavensward by a pretty significant margin.
Yeah, Stormblood got good in Shadowbringers.
You felt a lot better about it. Well, now I did Bozja, and I did the story to Bozja. And so now I get to go back and do Stormblood already knowing that. So it's just different. I mean, think about someone we meet in Stormblood that plays a substantial role in Endwalker. I will get to meet them for the first time, and I doubt you liked them the first time you met them. But I'm really not going to like them the first time I met them. So it's just different.
Yeah, most people, Joshua, play the game for the story. What's
his
up?
buddy lost a Palace of the Dead solo run on floor 198.
Oh, wow. The Joshua says that most of my friends will subscribe to get current every few months or so. Really wish they release expansions quicker than every 2 to 3 years. Yeah, that's most of the population does play from the expansion, and then they take a break and they come back for the pre-expansion hype into the expansion and then take a break. So nothing wrong with it. Like however you enjoy and if you're having fun, you're doing it right. As long as you're not hurting another player in game, it's perfectly fine. I think what I missed out of Stormblood is that I felt like it lacked the war, and Bozja was that war. Like Bozja felt like, okay, we're assaulting, we're trying to take ground, you're moving through the zone, like that was like, oh my gosh, like that's what I felt Stormblood was building up to, but it really didn't. It just felt like, oh, we're just taking all of this back from the Empire, and then their thing was like, well, we'll send an emissary. Like I was just like, they were just like, all right, and then I was like, what? Like that's their response, okay. What so I just never felt like it had the big impact that I was looking for. And then Bozja comes along, and then that felt more like if it ended with that, that's in my mind where Stormblood's story kind of concluded. We did all this stuff, now here's what's happening, here's the consequences, here's the fallout, here's the Civil War.
And I'll do all of that within 4 months, basically.
Yeah.
4 to 6 months, 8 months at the high end. So I'll do all of that in less than 2 patch cycles. So when new players come into the game and they say they really love this game, they are having an intrinsically different experience than people who came through the first time, who may also love this game. It's just an intrinsically different experience.
Mm-hmm.
So what's interesting here is they are talking about, as a first step, they always look for volunteers and writers that want to take over specific quests when deciding how they should look. They said no one wanted to write the healer role quest because of the complexity and difficulty, so they had to do it themselves in the they're just using quick abbreviations. He had to do it in the beginning. He had to do it in the end because so he had to do it themselves. But they do look for volunteers, and if somebody says they want to write it, they usually let them have it. Since you've been in game development for longer, Ishikawa, you're still using a basic notepad to write, right? And she says yes. If you did it in Word or Excel, there'd always be an extra converting step, which you don't have with Notepad. I doubt there are any mini scenario writers in Japanese game development now that use Word. My apology texts I always write in Word, which he does apologize a lot. It's been a lot this year. It's been a lot. It's been pretty constant apologies.
Yeah, suffering from success in that regards. Oh man, we had too many people wanting to play and their server could not get servers. Yeah. You wonder, because you were talking about how you felt like 27 million wasn't as big. You're kind of expecting maybe 30. And you wonder how many people didn't buy the game because they stopped selling the game because they didn't have room for that.
That's true.
You know?
That's true. I didn't think about that.
They stopped
they may
selling.
Have passed on. They may have passed on a lot of sales.
They could have easily. And sales that probably won't come back until 7.0. When you get that when you get that hype, you know?
Yep. Yep. I just, in general, I the game has been growing so fast, and there's so many new faces, that I just expected the number to go up.
Yeah.
This way.
Marie says that they struggled with getting into that, and it's like that's one of the things with that kind of content, like with Eureka. Like I struggled with Eureka. Eureka made me go play Final Fantasy 11. But like Basha, I really got into that zone and that content, so I really enjoyed it. So, but I hear you. Not everybody that's their cup of tea, and it's definitely a different style of content.
So they did realize after 6.0 they had to find a system that had sustainability for the future. So plot meetings are a lot more important now. I mean, if you want to set up 10 years, and this time it happened, but some of that was bound to be luck. Some of that was we made an assumption and it turned out to be right. Right? Other games made an assumption and it turned out to be wrong. Some of it was just guessing. So I think if you want to guarantee that the next 10 years does a better job with the plot and all of that from the get-go, you want to be a lot more careful to make sure you're not relying on luck. Because the first time anything that was weird, right? We just talked about Stormblood. A lot of you guys have talked about how you kind of forgive that, or there was one of you said that you were willing to forgive some minor continuity errors, but that gets less forgiving if they do it next time around with this next saga. He said sometimes we finish writing for cutscenes before other parts because those require extra time and cost to be made.
Yeah, the lost actions for Bozja and stuff I think is a really cool thing, and honestly I would love to see them introduce that with the Criterion and with the Deep Dungeon. So more the side content that could actually take advantage of something like that, the more excited I'll be for it. Also, thanks guys for almost 149, just shy of 150 likes. Appreciate that.
So, Praxis wonders why there's a behind the scenes here with the writing crew. They do this with different designers, UI designers, game designers. Sometimes it's with somebody representing whatever team they're doing a cross collab with. Sometimes these are more feedback based. The second half of a live letter is sometimes very much like a QVC sales marathon. The second half can be a lot of things, but when it's at something like a fan fest or a 14-hour stream or at a gaming convention, or in this case both, it's a really neat time to have one of the lore ones. So either a sit down with somebody like the writers or sit down with some of the lore experts. You know, they've had some of these way back in the day with like Koji Fox and all that, Koji, and so like it's a good time for that. So I don't think it marks anything significant about like this team in particular, other than just like it's a good time to post Endwalker, sit down and talk about it. He said, okay, still the same translation. Role quest complete. So that was the path through role quests. He said, I know you guys take pride in your work as well. You'd never let something through to be checked without me, checked by me without having first checked it yourselves. So. Yes, just like got me. That really hurt, Charlie. That really hurt, and it still hurts. All right. There we go. When do you talk to the MSQ people? When the MSQ's done? Yeah, they said in a previous panel like this that they start writing the next MSQ at like the 0.1 patch. So they get like one cycle off, and then it's go time.
Yeah, so 7.0 is already written.
Yeah. It's already following its way down.
While you're at it, let's discuss Pandemonium.
Okay.
ラハブレアを掘り下げたいですって、最初に言い出したのが自分なんですけども、
hot tub action. Seat big.
どうして彼が 2.0 あなったかっていうところがまだ語られてないっていうことで、ちょっとそこをしっかり掘り下げたいなということを考えました。で、じゃあ実際どうやるのよっていうことで、もう一個キーワードとして、家族っていうのをちょっとキーワードにしたいなと思いまして、で、その家族っていうじゃあテーマを語るために、ラハブレアっていう人間を内側から知っている存在と、外側から見ている存在とテミスとエリクトニオスという、
It wasn't my wish to bring back It was my wish to bring back La Brea because I felt like we didn't discuss this character in depth yet. There's a lot that they can't say when talking about Pandemonium, so if I say too much, please stop me. I'm talking about La Brea. If this in public and in private. And who is La Brea? Family was a key word they had in mind. This is big. This is big. Come on. Tell us some La Brea. Should have just gotten up and gotten corn chips.
Yeah, data center travel has been really good.
All right. Now, if you guys get to go to FanFest, if any of you get to go, they may have panels like this, so they'll have kind of different things going on. If this is not your thing, there'll also be like a live golden saucer set up. So you kind of, if you've been to a gaming convention, there's like different things going on simultaneously. So there'll be like there was like a jump to the top of Kugane Tower type thing. So you can pick the panels that you're like, I absolutely have to be at that. And then you can pick the panels that you'd rather go kind of wander around the convention area, because there's always going to be kind of something going on the main stage and then other stuff going on as well. At BlizzCon, there's stuff going on like 6 main stages. So depending on how many IPs you're interested in, that's a lot harder. So if you had something like a Square Enix con, that would get a lot tougher. Because of the number of IPs that would be represented. So, all right. Initially, we were under a bit of time pressure here when talking about La Brea, but we caught up nicely for the 6.2 part of the story. Bosses are decided in consultation with the game contents team. You will 100% go to the next EU Fan Fest. If you have to sell your last shirt or whatever. That's a weird thing that you think somebody with a Fan Fest ticket wants, Chris. Your last shirt. Give me your most worn out shirt, please. That's what I will take. I waited in line, I clicked refresh a million times, and I have scored a ticket. But I am missing one very used shirt.
It makes me think of the concept of the Gift of the Magi, where it's like, I sold my last shirt, and then you got your ticket and you go, and then they're like, oh, but you need a shirt to get in. No.
Oh no!
You mean you
no
sold
shirt,
your hair?
No shoes, no entry.
I sold my
You
hair
should've
so
sold
you could
all
get
but
this.
your last shirt.
Yeah, and then it's like, but I sold that so you could have these nice brushes for your hair.
Is this a Josh Strife Hayes impression? No. That guy's got a shirt and a vest. He's got clothes to spare. Clothes to spare. He's a classy guy. Okay, so they're talking about the first 4 circles here. The first 4. I can buy new shirts at FanFest. You gotta get in first. You gotta get in. All right. You can't even wear a vest over a shirt in 14. You got 1 torso slot. As opposed to World of Warcraft, you do have a shirt and an armor slot.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if we're gauging games on how close to Josh Strife Hayes can you get, it'd be interesting to see make a Josh Strife Hayes in each game. But there is a very extensive glamour selection, so maybe there is a vest over a shirt already handled. It'd be an interesting way to rate MMOs from a guy that rates terrible games. It'd be interested to rate a game based on how Josh Strife hazy can you get. We could have like a hazometer. He wouldn't think that was weird. He probably would. He's a nice guy, but weird is weird. All right. We used to have underwear. So, because of the way we're designing content, every team has to be involved at some point because the scenario is important to everything. Boss design, map design, even the music. Well, WoW gets a 0 out of Hayes. Does it? Does it? All right, hold on. If I find a vest, I swear to goodness, Neflarion. Oh, a lot of these vests are not, they're too medieval. I don't know. I don't know. The black silk vest is not terrible. It's not terrible. The regal armor from Felwood, not terrible. All right. I'm going to pull it down on the screen here. These aren't bad. They're not bad. And remember, you could put a dress shirt underneath one, so you could always go throw on like an actual vest if it's armor, and then put the shirt underneath, the dress shirt underneath. I think we could get above a 0 out of Hayes. Oh, what a weird YouTube video that would be to make. Brian, can you go download like 6 MMOs and try to score things 0 out of Hayes to 0 to Hayes?
0 to Hayes?
Yeah.
I probably could. I've downloaded several. I just haven't played them.
Okay, fine. 1 out of Hayes.
They called Hesperos Vampire Lord in the initial development stages, if I remember correctly.
Welcome to the worst haze ever, where I glamour Josh Drive so you don't have to. Oh, Brian, we've been awake too long. It's getting weird.
Yeah, this is where everything gets silly.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh god. I bet he'd react to it too. And then Asmongold would react to it.
Well, and then based off the rule of reaction, we'd have to react back.
You'd have to react back. Alright. So what intentions do you have for the rest of Pandemonium Story? That's his question? What intentions do you have for the rest of Pandemonium Story?
You'll have to
that's like a
wait.
stupid Q&A question.
And he's like, I can't, I'm scared of saying anything. I don't want to
That's
go.
a stupid Q&A question. We get those just so you guys are prepared for FanFest. Somebody's going to say what happens in 6.5, or what's the last step of Myths of the Realm, or what's the highlight, what's your favorite part of the 7.0 story, and they're going to tell them to screw off. I cannot believe he...
Now hiring development staff.
He said, I'm scared of too much. I'm scared of saying too much, but I want to go on a roller coaster of emotions. I can't promise tears, though.
Oh man, Sparta, right there, dude. Been up, not awake. Yeah, 8 a.m. I was up at 5.
These are the exact same positions that were there last time. It's a hard time to find staff in all industries.
Yep.
A lot of industries. In my wife says in kind of the construction industry, the problem they're running into is that a lot of people who wanted a change of scenery got one in the last 2 years. And so they're kind of hitting this lull where either people are in places where they've been taken good care of for a long time, or they've already made a move, and so they're not ready to move again.
We had a lot of people who were like screwed over because they're like, oh yeah, we're a family. Oh wait, all y'all are fired, and you know. And then they're like, wait a minute, like, why would I come back to work for you? I had to survive. I went and did something else.
If there's a budget concern, my family is still all invited to Thanksgiving. You're not a family. It's fine that you want to care for and be accommodating and be in it for the long haul or whatever terms, but you're not a family.
Yeah. So whenever I hear a company say, we're more than a company, we're a family, I'm like, that's BS.
No, I find it tends to be linked to they are going to ask things of me that they don't want to compensate me for.
Oh yeah.
Typically, when they're saying they're a family, they're trying to say,
we'll do it for the family. Like, don't
do it for the family. Extra loyalty. Doesn't it feel good? It's like helping out family. No,
you're profiting.
I mean, it does, but it'd feel a lot better if I was the one that was getting paid.
Yeah. Oh yeah, working 80 hours.
Family means terrible respect for boundaries. Yes, because that's what my family has.
We're all in this
do
together.
Things that have no respect for my boundaries, but that's okay because they're my family. But my job shouldn't have that permission.
Right.
Right. You do a lot for family, and they do a lot for you.
Yeah, I would say like they should change that and make it like, oh, we're all co-owners in this. Like you got shares, you know, like that. There's compensation there. You work hard, business grows. You know, if you sell, then you can get a nice little extra big payday for your hard work. But yeah.
Yep. I had a family member that worked at a company from when they were very small, 10 devs or something like that. Grew up to being hundreds of devs, and the whole time he'd worked long hours and all that. And as they prepped for sale, it was all about family. And as they went through sale, it was a year-long acquisition process, and they asked them to all put in extra work to help drive value in the company. And they were all going to get a piece of the action, but none of that was in writing. And he basically worked overtime for years on end, from being when it was a small dev team, he used to work directly with the owner on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Put in all this extra time for that last year at no additional compensation. And when the company sold, the owner walked away with like $40 million, and he got a check for like $5,500.
Yeah. If it ain't writing.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah. Thanks for all that extra
Thanks.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of 40 million, that's what you could
You couldn't
afford,
have spared more. You know. Yeah. If it's not in writing, they ain't gonna take care of you. They don't
I mean,
have to.
imagine if that guy had just taken $1 million off the top and,
and
divvied
just
it out.
divvied it
over-
out. Oh, everybody would have like been thrilled.
Everybody gets $1 million.
Not even you don't even have to make it $1 million.
It was like 100 core devs that he said like were really shaped the company, and he was one of the like original 10.
Yeah. That sucks. Yeah, I worked for this company and I was working 80 hours and it's like, here's these options, here's these options, here's these options. Try to go to sell, fell apart at the last minute or whatever.
Can I visit your island?
It's worth
'Cause
nothing.
we're family, right? Oh, you're in the wind and we're never going to talk again because you're now retired and I have to go on with another job. Awesome. Sounds like family. Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So it's tough. That's tough. Your job's your family. You get paid by the state to take care of my kids because autism is a thing.
We all have to.
Your job is your family. Okay, I didn't read that punctuation correctly.
And then during COVID, my apartment complex removed access to amenities and raised rent. They said, we all got to make sacrifices. Oh, man. What BS. I mean, that's what I tell my kids. It's like, why are we having eggs again for dinner? Well, work's been slow, kids. And eggs have tripled in price. So has everything else.
Uh,
Yeah, I was like,
they're now also hiring visual effects and an environmental artist and marketing. What? Marketing what? What? Marketing planner. I don't know what that means.
I don't
Be
know.
fluent and excellent in written Japanese, and you wouldn't need game development experience to apply. Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of jobs also try to like, oh, we're understaffed. Let's just see if we can get by without it for how long we can.
All right, announcements. This is what we've been sticking around for, guys.
Yeah.
This is why. This is why we stay.
Dude, yeah, I like eggs, man.
All right. Additions to NADC expansion. This is what we stay for, or we would have already filmed the summary. Back in the day when we used to have these in the morning and we'd have to go to work, we would have already stopped and filmed the summary while we had this up on another screen. And we would have done like this just in. If something popped up that we weren't ready for. Okay. The 1st of November will be patch 6.28. That pushes that. Maybe there's not a live letter the 5th. 6.25 is the 18th of October. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Big announcement, big announcement, big announcement, big announcement, big announcement, big announcement.
Is this FanFest?
Looks like FanFest.
That's what we were talking about at the start.
No way. No
Return
way.
to reality. Return to reality. Does that mean in person?
No way.
Yes. 2000.
Let's
Please
freaking
be in
go.
person. Be
I
in person.
did
Be in
not
person. Be in 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 person.
It's in person. It's in person.
North America.
Oh my God, North
Las
America.
Vegas, baby. We're
Back
going
in
back to
Vegas.
Vegas on my
July.
birthday. My birthday.
July. Pull the spreadsheet. 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 When did I guess it was? When did I guess it was? July 28th.
Boop, 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 boop.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
Birthday.
When did I guess? When did I guess? Are you guys ready? I've been 3 for 3 on the last ones. I said that NA FanFest would be July 15th. No.
So close.
No.
London.
I had the
October
right
21st
month.
and 22nd.
Oh no, I was off by 1 week. I also thought JP would go first.
NA's gone first every time. So the question was, like, do they change that? Japan.
No, I thought EU would.
Early 2024. In
I
person,
think
baby.
January
Going to
6th.
Vegas.
I think January 6th for JP.
Even if you can't get a ticket to the show, like, just come to Vegas, man. Like, there's a lot. We're going to have lots of fun. Oh, man, that makes me so freaking thrilled, baby.
Oh, I was off on the FanFest dates. All right. Okay. I mean, I was off by like literally like 7 to 10 days. So
Yeah.
freaking close.
Oh my gosh, what a great freaking announcement, guys. Whoo!
That's what we stay for. That's
Oh
what
my
we stay
gosh.
for. Chris, if you're wildly awake and you just want to like clip that, that'd be great. I also put a mark earlier in stream, and there was something we talked about before that that I still wanted clipped, but I don't remember. It was whatever subject was before that. If you're just already in it, I don't know if you can see marks already.
今回はさっきねちょっと英語で出てましたが、英語が苦手な方のために言っておきますが、物理開催です。
Is it hard to get FanFest tickets? Yes.
Yes.
抑えちゃったんで、まあ前回も
If you are not going alone, if you're going with like members of your raid team or members of your guild or a family member, all be on different browsers on a Discord call, and whoever gets through buys tickets and then transfer the money. People you trust to actually pay you back.
確保できたんですけど、日本はなかなか場所争いが今日熾烈でですね。
I think the last time we had an in-person one, tickets were like $150. Digital FanFest was free. The ticket price, if $150 is cost prohibitive, do not feel bad, because just know that the $150 is the cheapest part of going to FanFest. So budget accordingly. If you are going to be able to go, if you're going to be able to get that time off work, if that's going to be something financially that you are able to consider, July, October, early 2024, whichever region you want to go to, I believe it cost us each right at like $1,000 to go, $1,500, and we stayed in the same room, just 2 queen beds, and we ate pretty reasonably the whole time. Neither of us, I think, bought a lot of merch or anything.
No, yeah.
So that was just kind of that base point. So if you're looking out, this is a long time out. So if you have the ability to kind of budget that far out,
they'll announce
that
the
helps.
tickets. They'll like last time it was by kind of a random lottery. You have to be you have to be subscribed, to the game. You can't like they'll open it up to subscribers first.
Subscribers will have the ability to purchase, but they'll have the ability to purchase more than one ticket. So.
Oh, cool Reaper category, nice.
So,
yeah, we'll be sure to keep you guys up to date when those announcements are going down, so that way you'll have all the information, how it kind of walk you guys through the process as well. Assuming that all things being equal, that they're going to have a similar process. The last time we actually had a physical fan fest.
Last time it capped at 2 tickets per person. Okay, yeah, I never remember what the caps are. I knew it was more than 1. Brian, I went to FanFest with just Brian, but like with BlizzCon, I went with a bigger group, and so we were all in a Discord call, and you can buy, I think, like 4 for BlizzCon.
We bought our physical tickets to the show last time, and then when we got there, they gave us other tickets that were media, etc. So we're gonna have to find out if we get those tickets without having to go through the purchase, because we kind of like, I don't want to take tickets from y'all if
there's a lot of creators that have come around since that FanFest that are bigger than us, so it's possible.
Who knows? Like they could be like those guys.
We will still go even if we don't get tickets.
Oh hell yeah! I'll watch and react from the hotel room. Like
yeah, it'd be great.
Like, oh cool, and then go hang out with everybody.
It'd be great.
Well, assuming that Julie, can spare me.
Yes. How many months is that from now?
That is, let's see here.
7 plus 2-ish? 9?
Yeah.
10 months?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Nitrate, joining the tier 2. Thank you so much for that membership support, dude. We really appreciate that.
That's really exciting. That's really exciting.
Huge. Maybe I'll take Maddie.
I'm bummed I wasn't spot on the dates.
Dude, that'd be wild. That'd be wild.
I was close. I was really close.
Yeah, Maddie's always wanted to go on a plane. You can take. Maybe I'll take Maddie and she'll have fun.
May FanFest could have a live letter at it. It should, and it's 67 days out from what I believe is patch 6.5, which 67 days is not a weird amount of days for there to be a live letter from. It would mean there's another one in right before, which is great.
The
So it's right on time.
The question about Vegas though is that like they were wanting to go out like away from Vegas for the last one because of size, because they didn't like just the volume, and now there's even more gamers. So the question, I guess, the convention center is like, is it big enough? Are they able to sell more tickets? Yeah, the thing is that you could still go. Like, this is Vegas here, you know. So like, even if we don't get tickets, and even if we don't get like our like media badge tickets like we got last time, basically we had 4 tickets, which that's why we were like, well, we'll reach out and see if we can like make sure we're either on that list or that we, you know, try to purchase the we'll still go because you're still.
Wait, those were the Manderville sage weapons? I thought that was merge, honestly, when I saw it. What are these? I was so distracted by it. Reaper category grand prize winner Avatar. What are these? For the weapon design. Oh, okay. Okay, these are just optional weapons. So these would be Manderville Golden Saucer weapons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Sage ones are awesome. I like the Sage cutlery. That's pretty funny. Okay, I didn't realize what that was. Okay. You were trolling. You had me. You had me. Night Drake, thank you so much for joining the game club. When do tickets go on sale? How far out was it?
Oh, they had like it was a big countdown. I would bet that we would be talking January for tickets before they go on sale, which ends up being becoming kind of a snafu and a nightmare. Here's what I'm going to tell you guys is that like they will have like a discount code for rooms, but ultimately it becomes very difficult. So the thing that was actually the hardest thing to kind of figure out was lodging, because like it's Vegas. So like this far out, I'm going to go and try and reserve rooms.
I think what we did last time was we had rooms maybe not at the block, somewhere else that were like with a reservation that could be canceled.
Yeah.
And then after they announced, we were able to get into the block.
Actually, Gahu from Gamerscape, he's like, hey, I have this extra block. Do you want it? And I was like, yeah. So he was able to transfer that to us. So we were able to save money because we were at a different hotel.
The block at a hotel that didn't have as much demand and had cancellation. And so we got all our money back.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd have to like work our way down the strip, which is fine. So like, but if you're going to be doing that, make sure that however you're choosing to get lodging, that it's cancelable if your intention would be not to go if you're not going.
Yeah.
So the bummer about Vegas versus San Diego is like VRBO would have been great to get a VR.
Dude, to get a house?
A housing, like
walking
just in case
distance,
we had to watch it on like a TV or something. Because for BlizzCon, you can get a house like basically across the street from the convention center. So if you're going to the convention, it's nice, and if you're not going to the convention, it's nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dude, a house would be.
I was kind of excited about San Diego, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Hotel's great because you can kind of pop down and do a lot of the stuff, but a house would be chaos. Just sit back and be like, all right, we're gonna.
Like when we went to the media tour, we crashed on a friend's floor.
Yeah.
The night before to save money.
Yeah, his dryer wasn't working that well because I was cold. Like the blanket was a little damp. I was like, ooh. We do it for you guys. You're
like, wow, that's so cool that you guys got to go. We did, and we went entirely with ad revenue from Google, which included sleeping on a friend's floor with a wet blanket. I didn't know. My blanket was dry. Ryan's blanket was wet.
Yeah.
Sorry, bud.
Oh, dude, no. Like, what you did for your friend in college was like, I am not jealous at all. Like, I'm just happy that like, it's like just to be here.
He had just taken a job at Apple and had been working so much he hadn't had a chance to even unpack. So I went out early and in trade for us letting him sleep on our floor. He gave me some cash, and I literally like went and bought all this organization stuff, and I unpacked his whole apartment for him. Put all the dishes away, put all his hygiene stuff away, like just literally organized his closet. So.
All Saints Week, it's in Halloween time. So much better. Oh, Nitrate, thanks for the $2 super chat.
Don't know what race to play. Whichever one looks the best. Whichever one you think looks the coolest. Makes no difference. No real meaningful difference. Been a long time since it has. Time to use your employee discount for some free rooms. Ooh. All right. All Saints Week is awesome. I think it's Brian's favorite holiday all year round.
Yeah.
I always like the Easter one because I just like that we're like always chasing chickens, or like I just think it's really ridiculous. It's usually just really
Yeah.
There's like a chicken fade, or I just find those tend to be really funny.
Ooh, Colin gets that family discount. He's got family out there.
You think Vieira looks the best? Okay, so the only thing about Vieira is just keep in mind they won't be able to wear all headpieces. If you're somebody in games that doesn't like wearing headpieces, you normally turn them off when possible. No big deal. But Vieira and Rothgar are the only two that can't wear. There's many headpieces in the game they cannot wear. But other than that, yeah, Vieira, absolutely. Do it. Do it. Just want to give that disclaimer on those two. All right.
Yeah, the most important message that we have is we're hiring. Guys,
said it multiple times.
We're hiring. They've updated this like all year. Please come work for us at Square Enix.
The Japanese language barrier really hurts as far as like the Western audience being hireable. Just most of us don't grow up with any exposure to Japanese.
Right. If they all say we're hiring, it's going to be like, hey guys, we'll pay for you to learn Japanese. Like, we have scholarships for college. We need Japanese developers. Thanks, guys, for the 172 likes, by the way. And also, thanks so much for the support on the stream. We had 2 members. We had like $51 in super chats. Thank you guys very, very much.
Yeah, most Americans don't have a second language, period. And depending on the region, not all of us have full command of the one we got.
Mm-hmm.
So I was told when I took an aptitude test that I had to take for college that I had a very good vocabulary for the South. And I was like, I don't know if you're telling me something nice or something mean. It feels both complimentary and insulting simultaneously.
It's like, here's a backhanded compliment. You're pretty dadgum good looking for an idiot. Thank you.
That's what it felt like. You're new to the game? Well, welcome, Night Drake. Remember, there is a free trial that gets you all the way through the base game and the first expansion. And you can stay in it as many hours as you want until the restrictions on it, like no PvP, no more than 300,000 gil. There are some restrictions and stuff to stop people from abusing it. But as soon as those restrictions get to be too much, if you've already bought the game, don't worry about it. Start on the free trial, enter the code, enter your product code into your account after the fact. If you've already started up, it just no big deal. You were probably gonna buy it anyway, but just kind of last little bit. Seems like you're already taking a look at things. So I didn't start. I don't even think there was a free trial. I went straight in. No regrets.
Bought the game
regrets.
All
Bought
right.
the game. You get like as you come along, they give out some free months and stuff. MMOs are the best entertainment per dollar.
Yeah.
In my opinion, as far as hours of joy per dollar spent. So the fact that there are ways to save money on them literally ever feels crazy to me because they're already just such a phenomenal bargain. When you look at the amount of joy that you have laying ahead of you in a video game.
All right.
Encoding overload. I have a lot of stuff open.
Encoding overload.
I have a lot of stuff open. All right, I'm gonna close the
Encoding
game.
overload. I think we open with the fan fest. Like for me, like everything that we got.
Stand
like, all right.
Let me just move everything over to here. And
Oh, damn, dude. Nitrate, thank you. Another $5 super chat. Vieira, Playboy, Bunny Girls, here I come. I don't think you're going to regret it. They are a very, very well designed model. Absolutely. So awesome night. I hope you guys you enjoy. You can always change your like race later if you end up not necessarily.
They give you one free race change. One free one. So and then they sell as many as you want to do.
Windex
so there are
is-
people that change their race regularly.
Windex wants to know why. What I want to know is why can't my hats as a cat or Elzen or Vieira? This would work for them too. Just remove my ears. Why must my helmets has silly ear extensions? Just welcome to the big ear club. I like what they did in Ashes, where they kind of cut little, slats in the hood to kind of let the ears poke themselves out. I thought that was a nice touch.
Fido says, quarterly reminder, checking out Duolingo. Maybe see. I'm drawing up my 2023 goals now. I've only got a couple things left on what I wanted to get done in 2022. One of them is run my first triathlon. It is scheduled for October 16th.
Cool.
One of them is release my first piece of merch. Hoping to have the product portion finished this month. And then one of them is to publish the first episode of A Realm Revoiced. And then all my personal, everything else is done.
Rock and roll.
I had a financial goal that my wife and I are working on, but that's about it.
Awesome.
I figured that one was going to take all year. Finishing a financial goal early requires something awesome happening.
Yeah, something really awesome. Like
Usually you're
Ethereum using their
12 months, I'm
Amazon
gonna use all of
Prime
them.
sub, using that on a 1 month streak, 4 months of support with those Bezos bucks. Thank you so much, Ethereum, for that. Oh, heck yeah.
Hair extensions? Why would I want it to be longer?
He meant for me. Selling that as merch.
No.
All right.
If it really is finished this month, then I will tell you guys about it. Some of you already kind of know. I'm not that good at keeping secrets. If they're under an NDA, I can keep my mouth shut. But otherwise, I share a lot with you guys. I'm live like 40 hours a week. Like if they don't
It's
tell me to
inevitable.
keep it, if they don't tell me to keep it secret up front, then they're like, hey, by the way, a month ago I told you something. Could you not tell anybody? Oh man, you really should have led with that.
And Justin, the other nerd, no, they didn't talk about 6.3. That's going to be probably for the live letter that we're assuming is going to be in November. We'll give you dates on that as soon as possible. But we did get a really big announcement, and I think we're going to actually, you just tuned in just in time. We're going to summarize it for you guys here like we normally do. So whenever you're ready, Chris. And for some reason, your camera is like, you're not in your, there we go. It's like,
It's not some reason. It was that I was doing voiceover stuff today, and I sit weird when I do voice stuff.
Gotcha. Getcha. All right, let's see here.
We fully voiced Ninja and Summoner.
Very nice.
It was a great time. Had a great time.
All right, and at 3 hours and 13 minutes and 15 seconds, live letter summary. Save. Cool. Try to keep it, if I do it
3
while
months,
live, that
Lace.
helps. Yeah, thanks, Lace.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. Man, that means so
What's
much.
going to be
to
item
us.
level? People usually predict the item levels pretty accurately. Brian and I aren't BIS, so we're always kind of a little bit off on that, but
No reason to be.
but it tends to step up at a pretty standard pace. It's pretty linear.
Mhm.
So if I knew what the pattern was, it is a pattern. We just don't. We don't chase it.
All
What are
you-
you in right now? I'm in like, I don't know.
I'm at least at 610 plus.
Yeah, like 6'11", 6'12".
All right, are you ready to?
What's the item level for 6'3" and everything? Pride asking over on Damon's asking over on
6.3
YouTube.
won't increase the item level. 6.4 will be when the item level goes up. So then it will go up. So if 6.30,
What is the item level of 6.3 though? Because we'll
6.30.
get Alliance raid stuff, and
Yeah.
we'll get
It's either
new dungeon gear, which will be above 595.
yeah,
which is the current
6.30.
dungeon.
So the new alliance raid will drop 6.20, which is higher than the crafted. And crafted will be upgraded to 6.20, and then
The new
6.4
dungeon
will
drop
take
what 600, and then the next,
Yeah.
and then 6.4 dungeon will drop
605, I think, on the new dungeon.
Okay.
And then and then you go into 6.4, where that will then jump up to like 660 or 670 or something like that. And that's really where you put your grind in, guys. Like, I'm like, do I grind right now? No, like there's not a big reason to, you know. But comes 6.4 where it's like, hell yeah, let's get that gear.
Night Drink, do I have a channel to subscribe to? Yes, my name is Gaming Kinda, and I publish about 1 for every 100 videos that Brian does. Ballpark.
He films a lot. I even sometimes go out and I'm like, there's a lot of videos that have been uploaded, and just we'll get there. The oh man, I don't have the Chris command isn't working on this. Here, let me just add it to.
Yeah. But I'm live a lit on Twitch. I stream 5 days a week on Twitch.
Kinda and
Crisada. Thanks for making me dance up there.
well, I tagged in the
Do I
description.
dance on yours? You have all the same alerts?
Yeah.
So you have like a okay. You
I don't know if it will do the same one because it's still URL based, so it maybe, I don't know, maybe it does the same one, maybe it doesn't.
Okay.
The I added in the description on Chris's and mine. So thank you very much for Chris the mod pasting that over in here.
Brought to you by Eorzean Encyclopedia Volume 3. They said the Japanese is written, it's going through translation. Enjoy.
Speaking of which, though, we also in the Discord have been rearranging it. I got to do some work for Chris to get the reaction rolls done. But anything that Chris publishes will go to his Chris feed. There's a Work to Game feed, a Ginger Prime feed, and a Gaming Kinda feed. So you'll be able to get notifications, and that's all of Chris's stuff. Like I went and got mail, tried to get all his channels, linked in. But like you said, like
the merch is actually my primary goal right now, and then
Yeah.
I have 2 big posts that I'm working on, but I want them to be bigger because if I'm not going to publish often, I want them to aim a little bigger.
Yeah,
punch a little harder.
Right, because like there are people who are like get as many. Like we were always kind of looking
They
at
get
like
a notification and it's an average post, and I'm like, what the? I waited 2 months for this.
Yeah. Well, it can also end up being something where, we've seen where it's like somebody's like, yeah, they publish 2-3 videos and they get the same amount of views per month that we do, and it's just like, do you go volume or do you go whatever? And it's like, and essentially what I've also discovered is like based off of how I post, having a channel per game ends up being a much more valuable asset for people who are like, oh, I really don't care for Brian's New World content. Good news. You're not going to see it because that's over on the New World channel. I'm Blue Protocol. That's good news. That's on the Blue Protocol channel. So those all have those impacts. Are we ready to kick off this summary?
Ready. I have not scrolled up, but I assume you're going to handle it.
Yeah. I'm gonna handle it. We're gonna open up with the
format, man.
We're gonna open up. Yeah, we're gonna open up also with the with the FanFest announcement. I think that literally is.
What's going on over here?
You never know with you and your green screen shenanigans. So
I've been up too long. My whole left side's fading.
Oh no, it's the Back to the Future. Don't sleep with your mom.
Hurry! If they hadn't announced FanFest, I would have totally disappeared.
Oh God, thank God. All right, cool. All right, guys, we're going to run this summary style. We're going to go through kind of the notes, give you guys our thoughts on everything that you missed. Hitting the high notes, this is what it should be. Should be hopefully short and sweet. It's going to be also in the audio form here on YouTube and yada, 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 everything in between as well. So I'm going to hit this button and we're going to get this thing rock and roll. I am going to make one adjustment to the comfy chat because it is... Remove comfy chat right there. That's much better. That's much better. All right, cool.
I almost got my whole shoulder back.
Ooh, all right. All right, here we go.
Nice. That's a nice shoulder. I like that shoulder.
La-di-da. All right, here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Crystal Core Radio Podcast. Brian and Chris here for Work to Game, summarizing the latest live letter in which we actually get some bomb shell announcements, and we're not going to tease it. That's exactly what we're going to open up the show with. If you guys don't like take anything away, there's some really good announcements in this live letter, but I think there is one key takeaway for me, and that is where we're going to start the show off with, and that is FanFest is coming back, baby, and it's coming back in person. That's right. It's kind of like, I'm just like, it's also on my birthday. So it's like going to Vegas, baby. I'm going to just mainly speak here for the dates and stuff that we do have. Las Vegas, Nevada, July 28th and 29th. And then London is going to be October 21st and 22nd. And then in Japan's going to coming soon in 2024. They have, and they're still working out those details. But it's back in person. And I don't know how y'all feel about this, but I am thrilled about this. I've literally said that even if I cannot get tickets, I want to go and hang out. Like, I just want to go and be like, man, it's been so long. How long have we waited? And so that is essentially the biggest announcement. And I think for me, one of the biggest takeaways that in a seemingly kind of like, kind of casual chat while we hung out through all the scenario
discussion,
which we'll cover and talk about and make sure we hit all the high notes as well. That's the live letter. So Chris, are you excited about FanFest? What's your takeaway there?
Of course, we'll be there either way. We'll tell our wives that it's for work, and we won't celebrate Brian's birthday at all. But we might be able to have a drink or so. Remember, guys, that this is a standard live letter. Standard live letters are in Japanese only. So I do want to say thank you to the Reddit community for the translation that they do. We try to include links and stuff to all that. You can always use a command when you're watching us live. Exclamation point Reddit to find their Reddit portion, or exclamation point translate to feed you over to their Discord. It has all sorts of other stuff too, but the reason I am always shouting out their Discord is this translation is an invaluable source of information for all of us in the community. 27 million strong now that do not, most of us probably don't speak Japanese.
Yeah.
So very, very, very exciting.
So live letter, if you want to handle it, go ahead.
No, go.
Oh, yeah. So, guys, general flow of this live letter, a little bit different from kind of the bigger ones that kind of focus in on 6.3. We didn't really get 6.3 information. In fact, they did kind of in two parts, like where part one was both the review of 6.2, kind of the lessons they learned, takeaways, some of the things that they like. They're going to be making adjustments to. They like that the Savage raid was a week after the patch, but they also got a lot of good feedback, and so they're going to be making some adjustments, things like that. And then essentially they talked about what's to come with 6.25 and 6.28 and the data center expansion for North America. And so it wasn't gameplay focused. It wasn't like this like big revelation. In fact, when they pivoted right into part two, which was interviewing with the scenario team, we was like, oh, that was fast. It felt fast. It felt like part one ended up going by much faster on the 6.25. Chris?
It did. Between patches, the Heavensward and Stormblood, 0.2 and 0.3s, we actually had 3 live letters between each of those. And the Heavensward one was about UI. We had a heavy UI thing, if you guys remember back that far. And in Stormblood, they actually spent a large portion of that live letter introducing us to what was an exploratory zone, what was Eureka. Didn't have to do as much exploration for Boss Jazadnor, because at that point we kind of had an idea of how those sort of things work. And so, I kind of wondered if today they were going to go a little bit more into how the relic system is going to change with the upcoming relic, but that really wasn't the focus of today. Knowing that, because patch 6.25 is confirmed for the 18th. So I had that date spot on the FanFest dates. I was inside 2 weeks on all the dates, but I was not spot on either NA or EU. So unfortunately, my streak has once again ended. You get some right, you get some wrong, but we just keep adjusting the timeline. The further out the timeline gets, the harder it is to predict. So I already see in chat asking like, well, when is 6.0 now based on this new information? So I'm sure we'll be looking at that in streams to come as we now get to take all this and plug it back into the spreadsheet and speculate further.
If you're not aware, Chris streams for us on Twitch Monday through Friday. The links are all in the descriptions. Go give that a follow when you can, because the lurk support over on Twitch is invaluable to us. So we thank you guys so much for that. And then I also stream Friday nights, been doing New World, and that's actually also the same date that New World's Brimstone Sands, not expansion, but people call it an expansion update, is going live. So it's going to be a very busy week and very busy day for myself. Now, when we go ahead, if you got something you want to add.
So now we are going to officially start this coverage here. So we'll try to have some chapter markers down below in the YouTube video for you. The first thing is Yoshbi wants to talk about how they feel about patch 6.2. He believes that in general, patch 6.2, beyond the HP snafu with P8S, snafu was not his word, that in general it was pretty well received, but they want to kind of talk through a couple of things, such as like why the Archfiends were in this order. And there's Foxclawn over there. He said he was having a tough time keeping a straight face since every time he looked to the left, there was a Viera chipping in like with actual thoughts. And he's like, I can't take this seriously. But the order, he wants to keep people guessing. And so while they do like referencing other Final Fantasy games, and even in things that are kind of Final Fantasy 14, exclusive content versus stuff like the Yorha, he does want to keep people guessing and be able to take them into this. He also talked about the extreme fight itself and how there's been a lot of puzzle fights this patch around, but they did want to have something that was more fast execution based, more snappy. And the mechanic that they really called out was the rings, that if you touch the ring, you got sucked back to the middle, and how your natural, it takes you a second to go like, wait, so I'm not supposed to run out of this. And so they really enjoyed that. Obviously with Pandemonium,
they were happy that they could explore La Habrea's story and him as an Asian that we, as he likes to say, like kind of, met his end a while back. So that's given them a lot of opportunity to do those kind of stories. And they kind of get a little bit in detail into that in the scenario piece, but they only focus in on the first 4 circles, obviously trying to be very careful and cautious to like have any kind of any kind of spoilers. But yeah, so that's kind of essentially what they were focusing on. Anything from this part that you want to highlight, Chris? Because ultimately, I think it was just more good information about kind of how they look at receiving that feedback.
In general, across this, there was some underwritten themes here that weren't maybe explicitly so clearly stated as like a single bullet point, but this idea that they've gotten more efficient with their designs, and they've gotten better at making long-term plans, and as a result, you're seeing them end up with extra time in the dev cycle from time to time. So they talked about getting to include some extra voice lines in and around the Pandemonium series with 6.2 that Yoshimi didn't know that those were going to be able to go in, because the devs were kind of able to make time for that. And this sounded different than back when they said they were going to let Rothgar wear some headpieces, and they did that in overtime. This sounded much more like we were ahead of schedule and we made way for this. And, much closer to when they said the trust system was able to expand because they made the tool better, not because they have extra resources, they have extra staff. They said, no, like less experienced staff are going to be able to do more with this tool because we beefed up the tool. From there, we need to talk about job adjustments. Job adjustments, obviously with P8, obviously a big topic. If I could shout out any piece of content around it, I would say Frosty's Mog Talk with Arthur's, Momo, and Xena was amazing. But there was a lot of great coverage around it. In general, I think Aetherite Radio got to talk with Rin, and so there was a lot of great coverage, but the Mog Talk in particular I found really enlightening on a lot of viewpoints that are at that upper end. And so they did say there would be some job adjustments. There are going to be numbers for patch 6.25. Actions would be pushed out to 6.3. I believe I have 6.3 set out at like January timeframe, so early January is when I'm predicting it. But they also want to have a few more number adjustments in patch 6.28.
Yeah, and that's going to schedule for like November 1st, 2nd, whatever that Tuesday is.
Early November in there. So right up against probably when our next live letter is, somewhere in that range. They did increase the hitboxes so that melee could kind of have more uptime, and then obviously that skewed the balance for ranged and melee. So they want to adjust some numbers to reflect that. But keep in mind, action adjustments will not happen until patch 6.3. So pretty loose on this, nothing really firm. Didn't even really focus kind of on what jobs would be affected most. We expect 6.3 Paladin, I think, to get a rework, but across the board,
yeah, be careful with rework. We don't want to say
okay, excuse me, thank you, not like Summoner. We've been up a long time, guys. Just a little bit of a revisit, not like a Summoner total rehash, just recognizing that the balance is a little further off than it's been historically, and a chance to kind of reevaluate that. PvP.
Yes, this has been massively successful. They like in terms of we talked about just the heat map. We use like people will go Steam charts and they'll try to discount it, but it's like it does represent a trend within communities, and the Crystal Line conflict has held on to players. Like when you go look at historical playing, it's like yes, there's multiple platforms. It doesn't represent the whole, but it does represent the trend. And that trend in of itself is, I think it's so solid. Like you see that instead of dropping 20 or 30%, after kind of the patch is cleared, you're only seeing like maybe a 1% drop after the patch, because people are still wanting there, and that's such a good thing. That's such a good sign, and I'm so thrilled with that. And that's kind of what they're saying. Essentially, they confirm Crystalline Conflict has been very popular. Job adjustments are also going to happen in 6.28 for PvP. So we're not going to get an A or a B. that was the weirdest patch.
When's the season changeover? The fact that it's 6.28 instead of 6.25 makes me wonder if that's we're coming up on that time for. We've got to be coming up on eventually time for a season change, right?
Well, yeah, there's the series and the season.
Series will be 6.3.
Yeah, and then season could be 6.28. Like that could be a new time to start a new season to go into it.
I don't remember how those are timed.
It is, there is a map, and so we could probably get more information on that for a future video and all that
Obviously,
stuff.
we tank our rankings very importantly here at Work to Game. But for example, the Paladin cover, where people were able to had two Paladins could go protect each other in front lines, and that could get a little bit broken. They'll need to change that a little bit. So Island Sanctuary.
Yes.
Island Sanctuary. They've been
This
very
is actually a
excited
big
about
announcement.
feedback. I can't see the text.
Okay. Yeah.
So and so there's some big stuff here. So I want to read exactly from it. First of all, they have been told by like the Japanese community, do you even know what slow life is? Because they have been finding that people have optimized that. In the past, he's accused other regions of the exact same thing. So in general, just seeing players always take things a little beyond just being a game. But he is seeing people that are logging on every couple days to always do this. I know that like Ian Svea talked about with all the world first prog he's done, Island Sanctuary was the first time he felt that he really needed to take something to being a spreadsheet. And so there's also the feedback that players wanted to design their islands more freely and have their individual islands stand out. They knew that this feedback would be coming, but it's very difficult to implement. So this next part, word choices matter here. This is an unofficial translation from the amazing Reddit community. We are trying to allow players, does not mean they will, to allow players to place garden housing items, not all housing items, on their island. We do don't have a release schedule for this feature yet, but we are trying. I'm sure tomorrow I'll see Animal Crossing confirmed. All housing items are going to work on this in 6.25. No, stop it.
Stop it. But this is really good news. This is really good feedback. This is exciting. And this makes me happy for the people who have really been like itching to have that kind of flexibility and stuff. So congratulations. We'll give you guys updates on that as soon as it comes to play. Also going into the umbrella dance emote, and said this is kind of difficult because with fashion accessories and the emotes, they share the same memory system. And ultimately what they're going to be, obviously, as they build up to the 7.0 graphical update, they're kind of going in and trying to play around with these things to have the best, take edit. So in that regard, so all that I think is really good overall. Phase crown weapon.
So the weapons, they've talked about how as they've upped the standards on this subject, one of the things they've had is that after introducing ultimate weapons, they started adding all these, these visual effects. And as they've stepped up the quality of kind of the gear, the player feedback has also stepped up. And so as we've raised our standards for what we expect, we've also now been asking, I guess, as a community for the option to disable visual effects if we want. It's not that simple. But he did have a meeting yesterday about the graphics update for 7.0, and those will allow us to go further with the design. So we will keep improving. Please keep providing feedback. Just please be nice about it. He remembers back when players were happy just to be able to dye gear, and now everybody wants to be able to dye only specific parts of gear. And so that was kind of the closing portion of the 6.2 review and their thoughts of the patch that we just came out of. Now, of course, we are looking at 6.25, and then there will be a 6.28 this time around. And so they've been talking so much about 6.3 in the team that, you know,
he might be getting mixed up. So
he's going to try to keep it all straight here. So this is Tuesday, October 18th. Remember, this is going to continue the Hildebrand adventures. You do want to start these. If you're a story skipper, it's maybe an hour or two of your time. Go ahead and do the trials the first time synced. It's always fun to get a new trial, would be my recommendation. If you like the story, if you like Hildebrand's sense of humor, you've probably got 6 hours of story in ARR and probably 6 or so hours for everything after that. So you could be looking at that kind of 12 to 15 hour range overall. So get started. The 18th is a coming. The weapon enhancements quest will be tied to this. The Manderville weapons will be tied to this. So just like Evilise was required for Boz Jazadnor, this is required. If you look back at relics, they always require something, but this is the first time it's required something that people who like PvE content, like relics, but don't, this is the first time it's something that maybe those players wouldn't have already done or be excited to do anyway, because it's so different. The tribal quests, the Omicrons, gathering quests, and then the variant and criterion system. Variant being the story dungeons with multiple endings, and then criterion and criterion savage being the first time we have difficult dungeons. Call them whatever you want. New World has a system for it. Guild Wars has a system for it. WoW has a system for it. This is just their take on that idea of what if a small group of players were to be challenged in a dungeon type environment. And we look forward to seeing what that looks like in the Sildine subterranean.
yes, I'm very, very excited for that content. 2 screenshots that doesn't end up being in the recap of the last live letter, and we can see some pretty cool spy gear. So if you are looking to role play or more, they're showing that off. Spies, since there's a spy in this family, that seems very popular lately. That is what they're saying. Now they go into the data center expansion for North America. This is actually coming on, they say, November the 1st. This is scheduled to be implemented, and we're going to get the new logical data center Dynamis, which is great because we've got data center visits. So they're going to open up 4 new worlds with that. There's going to be a second part to this where we'll get another 4 worlds. So there'll be another 8 worlds that are on this logical data center. Halicarnassus, Madun, Merith, and Seraph are all going to be there. Now, the housing lottery for these new worlds will open up on Saturday, November the 5th. And if you guys are able to grind out that coin, I think the pickings will be pretty open in that regards. But don't kill yourself doing that.
Maybe probably transfers to it. I don't know I don't remember how the transfers worked last time here, but with data center visit, this is now less impactful than ever before in a way that it hurts people. It's all positive and it's a lot less of the negative. So this is really exciting. Remember that when people transfer over with free companies, I think it's like 30 days. And then in that 30 days, you need to score rank 6. I don't think rank 6 is the bigger issue. And then of course you would want to carry over that 50 million gil for that large plot. Of course. So get started.
Of course.
Farming up that gil. So they are working on adding new housing plots, but they can't say much about that yet, as we have not finalized the schedule. Emphasis on the not there. And there is a possibility that the data center expansion will require that kind of 24-hour maintenance window. I think in general, those are fairly well received. It's a bummer always have a game offline, but I think for stuff like this, we see that that's a necessary step to give the best quality experience. They're not sure yet. And that's it for kind of those announcement portions.
Yeah.
Now, they talk to the scenario writing scene. They've done these before at FanFest and various panels, and we've had times with the UI team and the combat teams and Soken. And so this is a chance to sit down and introduce. If you're not familiar with who these writers are and what they've done, they had little slides on each of them. I encourage you to actually open up this Discord and kind of go through and toggle these, as well as kind of go look them up, because this is not exhaustive for the impact on this game or any other game that a lot of these people have. So they talk about a little bit of their history before coming to 14 and a little bit of the kind of work that they've done on 14 to just kind of introduce you to who we're talking to in case this is your first time meeting them. The one on the stage that Chris, the mod, was letting me know that actually, now that I'm going through story for my first time, every story I have cried during as I re-clear story to go back through has been written by the same one of these writers. And so always good to get a chance to see them, ask them questions.
And and one of the crazy stories that like just to highlight, like when he left, he had created a theater company, ended up coming over into Square Enix to work, and he had it not necessarily said a good memory, but had to write the 100,000 characters worth of Japanese text implemented for the launch of the Mandeville Gold Saucer. That was his first task in sitting down and doing.
He thought that
this.
was what all of game design was going to be like.
Yeah.
He's like, I just have to. This is what I have to do.
That it was just absolutely wild. We did get a score of an announcement. Eorzean, Encyclopedia Eorzea Volume 3 is written in Japanese. They're working on the English translation, the other languages translation. They're going to have them printed off in Japan and then shipped worldwide. And that's where I was like, we were talking about FanFest before the show. And then I was like, hey, FanFest. Like Chris was like, when are they going to go on sale? And I was like, FanFest? Perhaps. So just keep an eye on that for sure.
Keep in mind when these go on sale, they sell out, then they have to deal with printing and shipping, and then it's a while before they go back on sale. So this is not something that you can just pick up at your convenience. They are sometimes found. People have found them used in local bookstores and things like that. And so just kind of keep in mind when we're setting aside budgets or whatever, and you're trying to decide what you want and what you don't. If you want one of these Encyclopedia Eorzeas, that's a lot more time sensitive when it comes to the pre-orders as far as getting one in a reasonable manner.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, I know when I ordered mine this last round, the shipping date came and went, and it actually took several months still, because printing in the book industry in general, much less high quality, large volume stuff. Any of you who are like Warhammer fans or anything, just printing has been a very hard industry to recover from 2020. So they don't have a timetable on this, and I would have a lot of patience with that if possible. Ishikawa, that's the one. She's the one that is responsible for all of my tiers in this game. They list just a handful of her accomplishments, but writing Shadowbringers, writing Endwalker, writing Dark Knight, writing Rogue, I think Crystal Tower, you guys said, Omega. It's a lot. The ability to retain staff and develop that staff and allow them to grow is something that this game has been very, very good at. And she is now moving slowly into more managerial positions as she's moved up the ladder. I think that's really shined for them to be able to take this homegrown talent and grow it and build on it. They have talked about wanting to hire. So if any of you know Japanese, They are actively hiring. They mentioned it multiple times during
They've been mentioning it multiple times and continue to mention it multiple times. So you guys got to keep an eye out for that. But all in all, like, I think that's like, there were some interesting aspects to how they went about it. The technology that's been developed, allowing them, especially like in Shadowbringers, being able to step into via the role play feature tool for the quests into the roles of kind of the Warriors of Darkness. So you could experience that more intimately than through an echo. It's like, I've tried that on.
And 6.0 and beyond, talking about how they've had to make plot meetings a bigger focus.
Yeah.
They talk through this process, starting with conceptualization, moving into brainstorming, and all the way through. They pick the role quest as an example, where they get inspiration and all this. They talked about how they've had to have these different leads and they've had to have more structure, because I think if they got lucky at all during the last 10 years, you don't want to rely on luck. You want this to go very smoothly the next time. So they kind of talk through their whole workflow here. And it gets reviewed multiple times by these different leads, by Yoshi P, there is a lot of quality assurance when
scenario
it comes to
lead check, lore checks, and like multiple times through the construction of the plot, the storyboarding, and then essentially the quest text. And then eventually it goes out and you can kind of see like, oh, we're dreaming. All right, this is fun. And now it's like you get to the serious work of actually like putting it all together to make sure that it makes sense.
And put that in the context of previous times that they've had meetings like this, and they've talked about, then you have to do all the cutscene design and you have to deal with the voice acting, and the fact that saying a phrase in one language that is supported in voice acting is not the same length of time as another one. So now you have to work with those, and you have to try to condense the phrases or lengthen the phrases or change the animations so that the cutscene can make sense regardless of what language they're playing. And like, as people who know from Praetorium, not all cutscenes end up running the same length as a result, but they're all supposed to have the same impact. And some cutscenes are meant to have, like, they're meant to force to click through because there's actions taking. So those can't be adjusted for that. So it's a lot of moving parts. So when we ask for more languages or ask for more voice acting, or, you know, we get excited about lore, we wonder why some lore is maybe not as strong as other lore. It's a big, intense process. And this was a neat behind the scenes chance to look at that. They got a chance to talk about Pandemonium a bit, who is La Habrea, and a chance to get to go back and revisit La Habrea with Pandemonium. Yoshi P did ask kind of like a question that I would honestly expect out of like a fan Q&A, like, can you tell us what's going to happen next in Pandemonium? That's a question that we, the fans, always ask, and then we always get the same answer.
I know.
And so somebody will ask like, hey, can you tell us your favorite part of 7.0 yet? And they're like, no. And so we always get, it's always asked, and he actually asked it of them. And they said, no, I want you to go on a roller coaster, but I'm not going to answer that. So it was nice to see him answer the question I think was on people's minds, so that we could get our traditional no. So if any of you know Japanese, they said, if you are fluent in Japanese, and you have any interest in this, just go ahead and submit your resume. Like, at this point, they are looking to kind of develop that talent. Scenario designers, marketing, game content designers, live system designers. There were a couple others. They all had different QR codes and stuff. So lots of interest in hiring and expanding the team as this continues to grow. Yoshi actually mentioned at one point that, like, originally a lot of his resources were shared Square Enix wide. And at this point he was like, no, like, over the years he said, that's mine. Like, I take them. Those are mine. I need them dedicated to me. And so Business Unit 3 has kind of developed a lot of that as it's had this success. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. The Goose is asking, as a kind of a, I don't know why it switched it, about the gear and how it's going to work in Criterion Dungeons. And unfortunately they haven't shared it if it's going to work like WoW or, you know, Mythic kind of rewards, so to speak, but we will know in 10 days. So there's kind of a mystery there, and that's going to be something we'll discover together, which is kind of fun to not have all the answers going into the patch, so we can kind of experiment, play around with, and see ultimately how it all comes together. So we'll be sure to give you guys up to dates on that and our thoughts on the system when we go hands-on with it. And as also a thank you, as we wrap up this summary, Night Drake gifted out like a couple of super chats here, but then dropping a super sticker for $50 here over on the YouTube side of things. So thank you guys so much. Chris, did we get any super awesome thanks and stuff over on the Twitch side? I have it's behind my screen.
We have Prime being shared by Global Cooldown, which makes for 35 months of support.
Soro, dude, you are the man. Thank you so much for that support, dude. And with that, like,
we've had a lot today. It's been a long day. We've been live since 7:30 this morning. We collabed this morning. Then I did my first time through the Ninja quest line, 30 to 50, and then the first time through Summoner 30 to 50. I did Monk this week. I did a lot this week. Full voice acted. That'll go over to Gaming Lore kind of. And then Brian took over and did some New World community night, which he normally does on Friday nights. Kind of had pushed that earlier in the day. And we've done this. And throughout that, you guys have been wonderful. There's been so many people hanging out, so many new faces. Such great conversations. We've had some laughs. We've had some serious conversations, and we've had a lot of support that makes this A, what we like to do, and B, what we're able to do. So thank you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you. And with that, I think that pretty much concludes our summary. That is also kind of somewhat concluding our day. It's been absolutely epic, and I appreciate y'all spending it with us. We knew this was going to be a wild one going into it. But unless Chris has any other thoughts, I think I'm going to go ahead and do our traditional outro. Chris, do you want to say anything before we wrap?
No, I guess we're supposed. I always say no and then yes. No, the thing that I want to say is that Brian and I are supposed to be better about kind of shouting out that Monday, Wednesday, Fridays we are now filming live. All of our posts that go live over here and here on YouTube, and then I'm filming on the Twitch side at the same time, and then my stream starts after that. I start before that and I carry straight through. So we've been doing those at 7:30 Central. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays the target, and then I stream 5 days a week, and Brian streams Friday evenings over on Twitch. And so we've got lots of streaming content, and come hang out. It's been a blast.
And if you can, even if it's something where you don't mind dropping some lurk support, our current goal that we're kind of trying to get to is if we can get back up to 200 concurrent viewers over on the Twitch side of things. It's a huge help, a huge way of just saying thanks. And it's just by setting your browser and saying thank you guys. And as that's a great way of helping the stream continue to get discovered, helps our content get discovered over there. This content over here helps discovery all which way and about. So thank you guys so much for being a part of that. But on that note, this is a wrap for the Crystal Core radio podcast and Work to Game. As a summary, as a great summary, short summary, beautiful, sweet summary. I'm just on cloud 9 with FanFest coming back. But without further ado, guys, I hope you have a great one and take care. Oh yeah.
I didn't think there was any chance they'd announce FanFest. I thought they'd announce it the next one.
Oh, dude, I was like, that is such a great
I didn't think
announcement.
there was any chance.
That is such a great announcement, man. Feels so freaking
You
good.
guys asked when 6.0 was. Let's go take a look real quick at the spreadsheet.
Let's figure it out.
All right. So here's the MMO spreadsheet of Epic Nerdiness. I'm showing it over on the Twitch side of things. Brian has access to it. He's the only person in the world that has access to it. Besides me.
I don't want to mess with it. It's too beautiful.
And so we've got 6.3, I think, is going to be in January. That puts 6.4 out in that kind of May timeframe. NA FanFest now confirmed for July 28th to 29th. And then that would put us 6.5 next October. So a year from now, we'd be looking at the last patch. Remember, we get MSQ with the half patch, so that's worth tracking here. In between, EU FanFest, I thought would slide in between, but it's the 21st. So I actually wonder if EU FanFest will be after 6.55 or if my 6.55 date is too early.
When's your 655 date?
I think it's the 14th of November. I think it's too early.
When's 6.5?
I think it's supposed to be 12/14. I think there's a
when's your 6.5 date?
10/3. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, so 6.55
would be, yeah, that's right.
November, December. No, it'd be January 6.55. And then you would be looking at
6.5 is a hard one because it tends to run long.
Yeah. Well, then I was like, then you'd be looking at March 2024 for the 7.0.
That's what I have. I have March 18th, 2024 is when I believe it launches. I just picked the 18th. It gets really hard with expansions because you end up with that like 3 days of early access. So like, what date do you count? So it tends to be that Friday. But then it officially launches that Tuesday. So the actual number of the month is just kind of like early month, mid month, late month. But, things wiggle. Sometimes I've been spot on. Sometimes I'm off by a week or so. And the further out we get, the more like any inaccuracies, I assume, along the way, just ripple outwards.
Yeah. It'll be
that's
interesting
my
to
guess
see.
right now.
Because Zeg says it was disappointed that obviously no Oceanic, FanFest. And they're at PAX Australia. So it might not be happening this time, but it at the end of the day, there might be opportunities for that in the future. So being that we just got Oceanic as a data center, you know what, when you talk about spare no expense, maybe that's something that happens in the future. And that could be a really good and exciting thing in the long run. But all right, guys.
Just talking to Spoken right now.
Woo.
So,
the 14-hour event is going to keep going on. You can hang out on that. We're not going to cover the 14 hours because there's not going to be a lot of news. And
there'll be a
Sakaguchi
interview that cannot be dual broadcasted. Could be worth going and trying to find a translation for. There'll also be a fan Q&A. Will be worth having a translation for. So keep watching coverage of this, even if it's already happened.
Yeah, absolutely. That is going to wrap us up for today. Thanks to all y'all so much for being here. And I'm looking for the thing. So I'm going to hit end stream and I'm going to send you guys on your way. So thanks again. We will be live most likely Monday, but I'll let you know if that plan's changed. You never know with me. and family. And hey, Brian, you're a content creator.
You never. I mean, sometimes you know.
Yeah, sometimes you know. All right, guys, I'm ending the stream. Love you.